Welcome everybody back to the TCS New York City Marathon on ESPN2 and ABC7. Great look at the skyline here of New York City. And take a look at our start times for all the major events that are going on. A lot of races really happening here in one morning. The men's and women's wheelers are off. The professional women, 8:40, followed by then 25 minutes later. And then the waves of the people that come through. The races are out front, but the marathon and the spirit of New York are those 50,000 people that start in those waves that come afterwards as we go out and look at the professional wheelchair races. Catherine DeBrunner, who has won the last two and trying to win her first New York, although this is a much different course for her than the two she's won on this year. And then over on the men, unmistakable in his silver helmet, the silver bullet, Marcel Hug, and the two-time former champ Daniel Romanchuk from the United States, who is really the only U.S. winner ever of this event. And right now they're kind of sharing the work up front.
One of the fun stats that I saw is that Daniel Romanchuk's sister is actually running the race for the very first time today. And he said, she's always been at the finish line waiting for me. Today, I'm going to wait for her.
Yeah, and it's 2 spots for the Paralympic Games. So the Americans have the opportunity to make the team here.
Let's bring in Amanda McGrory again, the two-time champ here in New York. And by the way, so we have the last 9 winners are in the field for the women's event. The last winner that's not here is in the moto. It's Amanda McGrory, who's just taken the free ride today to take care of this. Amanda, what do we see here early? We've got a 1-woman race and a 2-man race.
We do indeed. We still have Marcel Hug and the USA's Daniel Romanchuk together here. We're in one of the few long, straight stretches of the race. And it's been really interesting to watch from this perspective. Since Marcel closed that gap on Daniel at the top of the Verrazzano Bridge, Daniel has just been tucked in behind him. He's racing really, really smart here. Marcel has a tendency to break away on his own. He can hold a really high speed for a long time. And Daniel is doing his best to hang on the back and make sure that's not going to happen.
So let's talk about Daniel Romanchuk, because like you, he went through the Illinois program. Like, have you known this guy since he was just a pup, right?
Oh my goodness, I've known Daniel Romanchuk since he was maybe a middle schooler. He'd been coming out to train with our group at the University of Illinois under coach Adam Blakeney, probably since he was in high school. He'd fly out for training camps and spend a week out there with us. And then when he decided it was time for him to pick a college, to get serious about wheelchair racing, to figure out what he wanted to do next,
you guys recruited him in.
We absolutely did. We weren't going to let him go anywhere else. He's got such an incredible talent. We're right now passing the 5-mile mark. They are still tight together, tucked in down this hill, and they both look strong.
Amanda, we saw Hugh just then hit one of those potholes that you've talked about. You said this course is not only scary because of the ups and downs and you having to slow on those turns, but those potholes. Talk about that.
That's true. There's so many things about this New York City course that make it super technical. We've got the hills, we've got the bridges, we've got the weather. We also have the New York City roads.
And we've got time to talk about all of that with Amanda McGrory. We come back, including what DeBrunner out there. This is going to be a really hard race for her. We'll talk about that when we come back here. TCS New York City Marathon on ESPN2 and ABC7. What?
Brazil for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix today at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on ESPN2. Our pre-race coverage begins at 11:30 a.m. Eastern with additional coverage on ESPN Plus and ESPN Deportes in English and Spanish at 11 a.m. Eastern. Well, a major marathon like New York is always a big deal, but for the American wheelchair athletes competing today, this race has extra significance. It is a selection event for next summer's Paralympic Games in Paris, and the top U.S. athletes training at the University of Illinois are focused on that Paralympic prize.
I was excited to hear when New York was announced as the Paris Paralympic trials.
There are going to be some climbs in Paris that are going to be challenging. What they're trying to do is find a course that would mimic what you'd be seeing when you're competing in Paris.
It makes sense from a topography, condition standpoint.
All of us are so motivated to try and make one of those spots. The New York City Marathon being in trials has so much extra pressure.
Because of the tough nature of the course, top 2 men and women are going to deserve that ticket for Paris. And so I know that we're going to be putting our best foot forward, each and every one of us.
We have a critical mass of athletes that are Paralympians, world champions, world record holders, and they all train together every single day. I think both on the men's and the women's side, there's a clear favorite. Women, Susanna Scaroni.
My advantage is hill climbing. I'm also gotten a lot better at coasting.
The distinct favorite on the men's side, Daniel Romanchuk.
Any goal that I might have is specific and it's under my control.
New York's toughest marathon.
You have to be able to work hard at New York every second of the race. You
climb Verrazzano like it's the last climb of the race. Still get 25 miles left.
A very tough marathon. That's what I like about it.
You gotta be ready to tolerate pain and discomfort.
Pain makes me smile. In fact, I kind of get a little manic sometimes. I start laughing like the Joker.
New York is a challenging course in and of itself. So really the strategy is just surviving.
And we'll run through the field of the American athletes by their personal best. Aaron Pike, you saw in that piece. He's one of the Illinois guys. Daniel Romanchuk, who has won here twice. Evan Carell, who we saw, and currently is up into 4th place, which would make him the 2nd American. But Amanda McGrory, who is with us and knows all about these qualifying possibilities. First off, Amanda, you say right now Evan, unless he gets faster, doesn't get one of these spots. Is that correct?
That is correct. Right now, Evan is 15 seconds short of that minimum qualifying standard that he needs to enter the Paris Paralympic Games. That's a standard that's set by World Para-Athletics, and in order to enter the race, you have to be able to run a minimum 135 flat. And Evan's best right now is from London this past April, where he ran a 135.15. So he could do it today, but it's going to have to be fast on this course.
And you mentioned that there will be more than 2 that go to the Paralympics representing the United States, but this is the easiest way to get in, right? So, like, what kind of a carrot is this for these folks that you want to get it done, that I'm not having to wait on some other way to get in?
You are correct. If you qualify here today, you know that you are going. These 4 athletes, 2 men, 2 women, are going to be the first across any sport named to the Paris Paralympic team. There are an additional 4 slots for men and women in the marathon for Team USA at the Paralympics. However, in order to get one of those spots, you need to first qualify for a track event. And if you have hit that minimum entry standard, 135 flat for the men, 158 flat for the women, then you can choose to add the marathon on as an additional event.
There's a lot of stuff going in there, and hopefully, like you said, let's just be one of these top 2, and then we'll go.
Yeah, Marshall is
That's it.
a Paralympic medalist from the 800 meters to the marathon.
Yeah.
So it's dominating.
He has the Swiss national record from 100 meters to 10K through to the marathon. So, and Amanda, Marcella's pulled away here a little bit. On the women's side, we have Catherine DeBrunner's out there. She's won the last 2, but you said that this course maybe not favors her. So what should we be watching for with her out front early?
Really interesting to see if Catherine can hold on to a lead on this course. She's very, very strong on the flats. She broke the world record in Berlin. She's got top finishes, 2-time winner of the London Marathon, but she hasn't been tested yet on a really hilly course. And New York is a battle from start to finish. You've got to be able to work, you've got to be able to climb, you have to be tactical, and you have to have the right skill set to be successful on this course.
Amanda, we know that DeBrunner's out there on her own right now, but how much is this selection event in the minds of, say, Scaroni or McFadden, you know, some of the ladies that aren't right in the picture right now with DeBrunner?
The selection event is definitely something that's on everybody's mind, but so is a win here. A win at a majors and a win at the New York City Marathon is big. And Susanna Scaroni is the defending champion from last year's event and the course record holder. So she wants to reel Catherine DeBrunner in. And the disadvantage of being out on your own is that you're out on your own. There's a whole group of women behind her that are working together, trying to reel her back in.
One of the things we just saw, Hoog just came off and made that turn. So you were talking yesterday, we didn't get real far into the course tactics. You said for the wheelchair athletes coming off of the bridges, making those turns, it's almost a little bit, not detrimental, but you have to really slow. You can't really use your speed going into that. Can you talk about it a little bit?
Absolutely true. There is so much more that goes into wheelchair racing than just being able to push really fast, especially when we're talking about a course on the road where you're dealing with all of these other elements, with road conditions, with hills, with climbs, with turns. You've got to be ready for all of those. Racing chair is on wheels. We've got 3 wheels on the ground. Ideally, you want to keep 3 wheels on the ground. And if you turn too fast, you can throw yourself off balance. So that's one of the places where really good chair design, as well as a good skill set and a lot of experience here comes into play.
Amanda McGrory, just a wealth of information about this sport that is been in New York since 2000. This is the 22nd women and men's wheelchair race. Now, a year ago, a track, Gary made her marathon debut here. Well, she's back now, but she's a track great with a Boston Marathon Championship. Helen O'Beary, her second shot at New York. We'll talk about that when we come back.
Lots at stake for the wheelchair athletes. They're racing not just for today's title, but also for the overall win in the Abbott World Marathon Major Series. The winners of the annual series take home $50,000 apiece, so this is a serious payday. The race winners will earn 25 series points, and there are 8 bonus points available to the first athlete to cross the 20-kilometer mark. 20 kilometers, by the way, is 12.4 miles. And you can see the series standings going into today's race. On the men's side, Marcel Hoog of Switzerland has an unassailable lead, while any of the top 4 women are in contention for that series title and the 50 grand. John?
All right, thank you, Hannah. In addition for the wheelchair racers, first prize here in New York this year has been increased, $35,000 for coming across the line first. And at this point, first place has held. Catherine DeBruner is out there, Marcel Hoog, and Amanda McGrory, who's actually out there in front of everybody, Amanda. Good for you.
Thanks. Watching Marcel Hoog right now just crossed the 15K mark, and he is out on his own. What's really interesting about watching Marcel race is when we talk about the New York City course, we talk so much about the hills and the climbs, and Marcel tends to make his breakaways on the downhills. So I just watched him tuck in and pull away from Daniel, coasting down a hill, and it's the first time that I saw Marcel really relax. He shook out his arms a little bit, he skipped a stroke, he sat up, he took a deep breath, and that gap is just starting to open up, and it keeps growing.
So you mentioned the coasting. We had the piece earlier we saw, and that's where Susanna Stroney said, I'm getting better at coasting. It seems to me coasting would be the easiest part. Tell me about the skill of coasting for those of us that are dumb.
It does seem like coasting should be easy. You're just rolling down a hill, right?
Yes.
But there's so much that goes into... yeah, he just rolled. There's so much that goes into the positioning and the aerodynamics. So you're at the mercy of gravity when you're coasting. For most athletes, most women can get their arms moving up to about 25, 26 miles an hour. The men can get moving a little faster, maybe 28 to 30 miles an hour. But once you get up to that speed, you can't push anymore because you're just slowing yourself down. And that's where coasting comes in. So you have to know when it is time to stop pushing, and you have to know how to tuck in low. This is something that works really, really well for Marcel Hoog because he's tall. He has a really long torso, and if you look at his position in his chair, he's able to pull his head down really low and get really far out over his front wheel. This is different than someone like Daniel Romanchuk from the US. He's got a shorter torso, he's got really long arms, he is a great climber, but he's not able to pull himself out over his front wheel in the same way to get tucked in and to create that slipstream over himself.
My abs hurt just looking at that. I don't have that kind of core strength. We heard some cheers in the background. What's the atmosphere like out there for the racers?
It is a absolutely beautiful day. I keep telling everyone that I don't miss racing at all, but I would not be sad about doing the New York City Marathon today. It is blue skies, it's sunny, there's hardly any wind, and we are just starting to see some crowds picking up.
Amanda, Catherine DeBrunner is new to the marathon as of 2022, but yet she took to it so fast, winning London, winning Berlin, winning Chicago. What is it about her as an athlete that you think is really why she is so good over 26.2?
So I think Catherine DeBrunner is a really interesting athlete. She's been competing for a very long time. I think I remember meeting her for the first time maybe back in 2008, 2009, when she was still in school. But Catherine comes from a sprinting world, and we've been seeing a lot more wheelchair athletes, and even on the runners, athletes who are previously track athletes, used to running shorter distances, who have made that jump up to the marathon. And I think what Catherine gets from that is she gets international experience. She's used to seeing these people, she's used to being in this environment, and she also has speed. She's confident in herself and her ability to hit a high speed and to sprint to a finish.
And we should make a note that with the Brunner and with Hoog, both of them right now are well under the course record, at least in terms of pace. Course record for women is 1 hour, 42 minutes, 43 seconds. On the men's side, it's an hour, 25:26. As you go back and you see all the assembled masses getting ready, 5 waves, 50,000 people. We're getting ready for the women's start as well. And Carrie, the course record could very well be gone as well for that one. And so to get us ready for the start of the women's race, we go back out to Hannah.
Yeah, and one runner in particular, John, over the course of her storied running career, Helen O'Berry has proven her mettle again and again. 2 Olympic silvers on the track, 2 world titles on the track, a world title in cross country. So it's no surprise that when O'Berry moved up in distance to the marathon, she chose to come to New York, where she could test herself over the hills that make this course uniquely challenging.
So many people asking me, like, New York is a tough course. Why do you choose the first marathon in New York? I say, I want to go there and see and learn the experience of running the hard course. I prepared so well, but you know, sometimes you do a mistake because I didn't know what was going to happen on my way. It was my first marathon, and like finishing number 6, it was not what we expected for me to do. So it's helped me to get experience how to do my next marathon.
Helen O'Berry, who's making her Boston debut.
Boston Marathon, it was like a surprise to me because preparing a marathon less than 1 month and go there and win. It was a good moment for me. I'm so excited to go back to New York. It's not something you take for granted. It's something you need to work extra hard. I've won Boston Marathon, so many people are gonna watch me. I'm going there like Helen O'Berry. I'm going to race my own race. When you are going to a race, you expect to win. So for me, I'm going there to win.
And a little bit of trivia for the Swifties out there. 1989 was a good year. Global music icon Taylor Swift, of course, born on December 13th, 1989 in Pennsylvania. And on that same day, on the other side of the world, Helen O'Berry was born in Kenya. So today, almost 34 years later, both women are on top of their game. So you see, John, we figured out a way. Taylor Swift has not only taken over the NFL, we figured out a way to work her into the marathon.
Well, that's because, as you know, the race goes to the swiftest.
Oh, man.
Thank you very little. Let me know when you have a Travis Kelce tie-in, too, and then we'll really have something, Hannah. As we take a look at the women's start, they are now basically 5 minutes from starting, and there's a fantastic 4. Yesterday, late, Paris Chepchirchir, the winner in 21, said she could not go. She has a calf injury. But as I look at this, Carrie, there are 4 really good. Somebody really good is not going to be on the podium.
Somebody very good, but let's say we have the defending champion right there, Sharon Mulcahy, saying, it's my race, take it from me.
And the course record held by Margaret Okeo from 20 years ago, I don't know that survives today.
I don't know if it survives today with this lineup.
2:22 is the record for her. Double checking that time, 2:22. We will be back and have all that for you because we got 2 hours for those women to race. Molly Huddle's out there as well. On our screen, scan our QR code, download the official app powered by TCS to keep an eye out for your friends and family as they pass the start, the finish, key spots along the course with the new course camera feature. The TCS New York City Marathon app now available in both the Apple and Google Play stores. All this technology, right? And yet we've got all this. It's still a foot race. Or in this case, we're in the wheelchair, still rolling as we look. Susanna Scaroni still out there. Marcel Hoog. They have DeBrunner has had it from the get-go. Scaroni is second, and then Manuel Achar sitting in third, and then Marcel Hoog has dropped Daniel Romacek some. But that's really what it's been from the start. Hoog is who we've expected to be up front. Runner, we'll wait and see. I'm not sure that she's out of the woods given what Amanda McGrory has told us about this woman who is so prolific on flat courses, what she will do here, because there are still several hills, several bridges, and several climbs before she gets to Central Park and our position here at the finish line. Just kind of let them wash over you here as they go through. Thanks, buddy. So they're way out there, almost to 20K, that magic mark where the points, extra points are out there to be had. And then back out there on the Verrazzano-Narrows Bridge, you take a look, Carrie, at the women's elite field, which is a little thinner this year, but it's mighty. Like, the top is really good, and they get to run in really nice temperatures. Juan Luis, 47's got to be better than the abusive weather we had here last year.
So, a really good condition for the race, so it's not a problem.
There's the cannon fire, and the elite race is off. And I tell you what, it is, the first mile is the slowest. Luckily, it's the first mile, so it's not the most painful. Like, if this bridge came at 13 or 18 or 20, forget it.
Yeah, sometimes it's slowly, but sometimes it's really fast. So that's depends how's the group.
And no surprise to see American Kellen Taylor off the start line right away. She's aggressive always in her races, and you know, she just wants to get into a race mode. A lot of times on this uphill first mile, it's an awkward feeling. You know, they're trying to hold back a little bit, but they're also trying to get into the race and kind of shake those nerves off.
Yeah.
Let's roll through and take a look at our MasterCards one to watch in the women's race today. And we should start with the defending champ, Sharon Lokedi.
Yeah, Sharon is, you know, she's so bubbly and so excited to race, but there's a lot of pressure on her. You know, she doesn't race very often. And look at her stats there. She won here last year. She's second at the 10K here, the New York Mini. She loves to race in New York City. She's coming off of a great half marathon prep, though.
The woman's never lost a marathon. She's 1 for 1. This
one
is
for one.
Now her second. Letesenbet Gide is outside of amazing. I don't know what other words she wanted to say. She's been the fastest debut. She's got the world record at 10, world record in the half.
This is a treat for us to be able to see her here racing, and she's coming off of the World Championships on the track. She also ran World Cross this year. She does it all.
Bridget Kosgei had the world record till about a month ago. She's here. She's most importantly healthy and said she's done some good training. Healthy, I think, is key. Look at, you know, we look at her CV as well, her running resume. She wins. She runs fast, but she's been injured. Yeah, DNF in London, and her last marathon finish was actually in Tokyo 22. Helen O'Beary, who we talked about, her coach says 2:11. Dathan Ritzenshire, 2:11 is possible. It might be, but it's not here. Well, you know, it's not here, but you can run that way, and I think that the big thing that she has for her now is experience. Last year, she had 0 experience coming in. She's had a whole year of marathon training. And she didn't really bomb last year. She was 6th here last year. She was great. Viola Cheptu still kind of trying to match that 21 debut performance that she had. What a debut she did have here in 2nd place in 2021. And, you know, again, she has put the time in. She knows how to run the marathon, and she wants another good one. She's been eating a lot of Chipotle, supposedly, and that's very lucky for her. And depending on how she runs, she is either Bernard Lagat's sister or Bernard is her brother. Yes. You go through. Americans, Molly Huddle's back, and that's American distance racing royalty. Listen, she's won over 25 U.S. championships. She's been to 2 different Olympic Games. She is somebody that knows how to run, and today she wants to run a smart race. She wants to get under 2:29 and be fighting for the top American spot. And last on our list right here is the woman right now first in the race, Kellen Taylor. No surprise to see Kellen Taylor up front. She's very confident. She said she's had
a really good build back from her latest baby. She's 10 months old. And, you know, Kellen said, I want to run 2:23 here. Well, guess what? Look at the record books. 2:23 would put you on the podium.
Very good. Yeah, her last 26.2-mile finish was in New York in 2022, and she's moved up every year. She was 8th, then she was 7th, now she's 6th. As we go through and scroll through the rest of the field, you see that as sort of a de facto Kenyan Olympic trials with all the gals that are in there. Latesma Gide, really good. Sydney DeVore, one of the Americans along there with Kellen Taylor.
Sydney DeVore is someone we do want to keep our eye on. She was a teacher, now is a full-time runner and coach, and she's excited to race.
Edna Kiplagat is still racing.
Yeah.
And still great at 43.
In her last 15 marathons, she's been in the top 6 12 times. I mean, this woman knows how to race, and so never count her out.
That is ridiculous, and a couple of Americans there. And we should point out, right, that the American, real quickly, is very important because we're 90 days from the U.S. Olympic trials. So that's part of the reason that the American field maybe is not as deep, maybe not as sexy. But that's a big race coming in Orlando for sure. Have more of that discussion as they get over the bridge and get themselves into Brooklyn. So we've got 3 races started. Men are coming up soon, too. Take a look at Molly Huddle, who runs New York. 15 New York Roadrunner races here. Her first came in 2007 when she was in the 5th Avenue Mile, and she was just 23 years old. And now she's 39 and a mom, Carrie. Like, that's a lot going on.
She's got a lot on her plate, but I think that, you know, when you have that in life, that happiness and that excitement, she's taken her time like no other. I mean, really, she's done it in a really respectable way. She's running for Team for Kids today. She's also raising money for Ann Mother, and she is so excited to be back here. And like I said, she's so smart. She's consistent in her racing, but she wants to just have a good race. First time in the super shoes, which we'll get into, but this is also a big day for her to try that.
And we'll just tell you, the women's pack has gone through that first mile in 5:54. Like I said, that's always sort of alarmingly slow because they're going all the way uphill. Now let's go out to the start line with Sam Ryan, who's got she's got the boss right now, right here. Like, she's got the most powerful man in all the New York Roadrunners with her. Sam, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. The man behind the curtain, New York Roadrunners CEO Rob Simmelcare. 128,000 people entered to run this New York City Marathon, about 50,000 runners. It is so popular. What do you attribute the boom to?
Yeah, this was the hottest ticket in town in New York pretty much all year. People were trying to get in through charities, through the drawing, any way they could. And really, we think it's because so many people started running during the pandemic. Remember, there wasn't anything else you could do. You couldn't go to the gym. You couldn't really be around people. But being outdoors, it was safe. And so many people discovered that it was helpful, not just to their physical health, but to their mental health and well-being. And I think a lot of those people just kept running. So since I've been CEO of New York Roadrunners just after last year's marathon, just about all of our races have been sold out. It's been really, really great to see the level of participation. And obviously today, we're seeing the work paying off for 50,000 people who got into this race in the last year.
And real quick, I know you've run this marathon as a runner, and now you are literally running this marathon. What is the anticipation, the excitement, the nerves like? Any different for you?
It's different. You know, when you're running it, it's kind of all on you. You know, you're nervous about how your body's going to hold up and everything. This is so different because it's a team effort. We've got thousands of people involved in this, our great staff of 250, and then all the volunteers and the city agencies. So it's just such a team effort. I'm privileged to lead it, and we're looking forward to a great day.
Awesome. Have an awesome day. Thank you so much, Rob.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate it.
Let's send it over to Hannah Storm. Hey, Hannah.
Hey, Sam. Great to be with you today. You heard Carrie mention this a few minutes ago, Team for Kids. It's a dedicated group of adult runners who raise money for New York Roadrunners youth and community programming. It's a great cause. And today, ABC News is supporting Team for Kids by running the marathon. They're doing it relay style. Not a bad idea. A team of 12 ABC News reporters, anchors, and executives are splitting up the course into 2- and 3-mile segments. You see them right there, kicking it off, of course. None other than our good friend Robin Roberts. See Ginger Z is out there, Lindsay Davis, Jonathan Carl, David Muir, among a dozen ABC News team members. And a little while ago, our Allie Feller caught up with Robin near the starting line right there in Staten Island.
I am here at the start with Robin Roberts, about to kick things off with this ABC News relay. Have you run over the Verrazzano Bridge before?
Have not. And it's a little steeper than I thought. Doesn't look so steep when you're in a car, but when you know you're about to run that way, but ready for it. It's for the kids, Allie. It's for the kids.
It is for the kids. Tell us about what you're running for today. Team for Kids. Why does this mean so much to you?
You know what? We're very fortunate in that we're active, right? And it's so important for kids. And sometimes they don't have those community programs. So this funds community programs to help kids stay active, get active, because if you start young, it stays with you, and it really helps you so much later in life. And as a kid, who doesn't want to be out as a kid enjoying themselves? So I just love saying that I'm running this for the kids. Just 3 miles. I just want a disclaimer, not doing the whole, but it's a team relay. My teammates are all out on the course from ABC News. It's going to be a great time.
All right, be honest. Yes. Is there a race within the race? You're kicking things off, and then you'll be handing things off to your colleagues along the way. Have we gotten competitive in our training?
Allie, and we just met, and you know me so well. Oh my gosh, yes, we are very competitive at ABC News. So I'm handing off to Will Green, and I'm kicking off, and David Muir is at the other end, and he's going to get us into Central Park. But all of us are like, what's your time?
Thank you so much.
By the way, my first office at ESPN, I shared it with Robin Roberts, Reese Davis, and Kenny Mayne. Talk about a great 4x4. There's the women's race. Kellen Taylor's still in front, but as you can see, she's got people coming after her. So we'll have that to check in on. And the men's and women's wheelchair race, still DeBrunner and still Marcel Hug, although the women's race is tightening up some. So we've got a lot of drama and one more race to get started with the men. You'll see it all here on ESPN2 and ABC 7. And it's now official. Taylor Swift is in charge of everything in the world. Or at least she's had her part of this marathon as you look at the great skyline of Manhattan. Of course, the whole story is several stories down. It's on the pavement. It's on the streets of New York. And the man in charge of the city is Mayor Eric Adams. He's with Ryan Field. Your Honor, Your Honor.
All right, John, thank you very much. I'm here with the mayor of New York City, Eric Adams. Mr. Mayor, you talk about a great day for a great event. What makes today so special?
Well, I think the song that just played says it all. New York, if you can run it here, you can run it anywhere. TCS, New York City Marathon, is an amazing experience. 5 boroughs, over 50,000 runners, and you're crossing through some of the most diverse terrain, not only visually, but different ethnic groups. This is an amazing city, and it highlights what's great about America, and we're just really excited.
And we thank you for dialing in the great weather for us here today. You talk about you're throwing a party basically for 2 million spectators along the race course. How about the collective effort that goes into something like that here today?
And I think that's what makes it unique. When you see millions of New Yorkers lined the sidewalk, cheering from the rooftops, and just looking down on the runners, even when you feel physically exhausted, that energy that comes from the crowd just boosts it and gives you the direction. This doesn't happen overnight. The race, when this race ends, next day we're talking about bringing together all of our agencies, DOC, DOT, NYPD, all of our agencies come together, and TCS, New York City Marathon participants and organization just makes our lives easier. The professionalism, bringing people into the city. Over 60% I'm hearing are new runners. And so there's something just exciting about when you run next to each other, you can live next to each other, and you can communicate next to each other.
Well said. Enjoy the race today.
Thank you. Next year you and I going to run.
I hope so. I hope you got your shoes on. We're going to need to get you some running ones, that's for sure. Mayor Eric Adams, John, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, Mayor Adams is right. Nobody ever runs alone in the New York City Marathon. And There, look at the women's lead pack. Kellen Taylor has settled back in. Look out, we almost had some people that stepped on each other.
I like the position of Kide. He's back in the group, and she moves really, really smart all the way.
One of the people that has the best position in this group is out on our lead moto for the women. That would be Des Linden, twice an Olympian. She was the champ in Boston in 2018. 4 times a New York finisher, noted whiskey connoisseur. She has all kinds of wonderful titles. Des, good morning and welcome in. And let's just tell me how you kind of see. There's a group of probably 10 there, but we've got 4 that are maybe elite there. But what you see here this morning, what you're looking for?
Yeah, it's a good group. All the players are here. I think Kellen Taylor has decided to make this honest from the beginning. She doesn't really mess around. Mama 4, she understands being busy, so she wants to get back as quick as possible. If you look at the tape on the side, not a lot of wind out here. It's a great day for running, so we're going to see some really good matchups in this. All the players are here. We're going to see it splinter late, but they look motivated. There's no reason to go slow today.
Des, you see a lot of the athletes that have raced here before. They're the ones in that front line there. How important is it to have experience on this course?
Yeah, experience is everything on this course and in the marathon. And we saw Obiri's learning curve from last year in New York to Boston. That was just massively impressive. We have some first-timers on this course who've run very, very fast on flat courses. We're going to see how that translates to the hills and the challenging road terrain. But yeah, I think, you know, having the knowledge of the course is going to go a long way.
And Des Linden has both the knowledge of the course and the knowledge of all these runners as she's still out there covering her peers. Des will be with you throughout the rest of the race. They come through the first 5K in 17:23. At least that was the early report as we try to get some of our timing and stats all together here at the 52nd New York City Marathon. And there are the wheelchair races again. And listen, if we keep waiting for the runner to come back, it hasn't happening. She goes through the half with about a 3-minute lead. Let the TCS New York City Marathon app, powered by Tata Consultancy Services, enhance your viewing experience with a new second screen featuring uninterrupted coverage of the leaders in all 4 professional races. Scan the QR code and download the app now in the Apple and Google Play stores. Look at all those people. You can't watch them all at once. You need some help. Get the TCS New York City Marathon app.
New York City has an edge. It's a different vibe. It's a different mentality.
You have 3 children. When do you find time to run?
I'll get a babysitter.
In order to coexist, you have to be in a rhythm with each other in the city.
The pressures of being in New York, the opportunities of being in New York.
All mixed and commingled together to create this incredible combustible energy.
The energy that makes New York that boiling pot.
There's nothing like it. What makes it different is the fans of New York are so passionate, they're so smart.
The main pressure in New York is winning.
There's pressure, there's excitement, there's anxiety.
Tears, blood.
Pressure is synonymous with sports in New York.
There's no way around it.
You deal with it.
It's not going to be smooth sailing.
I've seen New York just completely break people down.
Not taking yourself too seriously is important.
There's no place like winning in New York. When you win here, you win everywhere. It's New York, baby. We love you. You do what you do, we do what we do.
Very cool to have Mello, Messier, and A-Rod weigh in on it. Yes, New York is a pressure cooker unlike any other, and this is crunch time. The professional men's race starting in mere minutes. They spent months preparing for the effort that they are going to put forth over the next 2+ hours with millions of New Yorkers looking on, and so are we, John Anderson.
And that is a good look right there as the New York Police Department's aviation unit flies by. You know, you want low angle, right? We want to see those, the runners as they come at you, but the shot from thousands of feet above is also really amazing as we get ready for the men's elite start. And Juan Luis Barrios, like this is wide open. There's a lot of guys that are good, and there's a lot of guys that can win.
Oh, in that point, you feel nervous, and you know, start with the hill, and that continues for almost 26 months.
How long? Well, we'll get back to that as we're down to the last few seconds before the start. And Sam Grotwald said, here are the things. On your mark, cannon. There you go, just like that. On your mark, cannon. It's pretty simple, and then let's go. So, Juan Luis, when you talk about the nerves and a little of that eagerness, like how long before that sort of dissipates and now you just start running?
Yeah, but anyway, you start with the hill and all the group is pushing and it's so compact. It's a big group right now. So, big names. You have Shura Kitata, Tola, Levins, so everyone is running very well during the year, and here in New York is looking the podium.
Well, let's take a closer look at the men that we want to watch here in this elite field for the 52nd TCS New York City Marathon, and let's start with Albert Carrere. He's a past champ from 2021.
Yeah, Carrere is very consistent, running under 210.
Runs under 210. He was 7th last year. He's run 15 marathon in 11 different cities. He is well traveled. So we don't have Evans Chibet. We don't have Jeffrey Kamworwar. Both of them had to drop out, but they add Tamarit Tola, who's a 203 guy, which is quick.
Yeah, Tola is no doubt is a big name in the list. So point to focus, and he's a fast and stronger man.
This is his 3rd marathon of the season. He DNF'd at Worlds, but was 3rd in London. The debut at the marathon of Edward Cheserek.
Edward Cheserek won everything in NCAA, so he's the king. He's coming for the first marathon in his life, and is so fast in a good performance in the half marathon during the year.
He is the king and should be really familiar to U.S. audiences from his time with the Oregon Ducks and those 17 NCAA titles. Shura Kitata, he's been here in 2nd twice.
Yeah, he knows very well the course, so he's a dangerous guy, and I hope in the end he's looking for the podium.
He was 2nd, 13 seconds against Evans Chibet last year, and 2 seconds to Lisa DeCisa back in 2018. Abdi Nagaye DNF'd in Budapest, but he's one to watch.
Yeah, he's a Dutch record holder and really good performance during the Olympic Games.
Now we get to Cam Levins, who this is an easy day for him because he's only got to run once today and not 3 times today.
It's an impressive PB for in Tokyo. He ran a really well marathon in Tokyo early this year, and he's coming for everything here.
Elkanah Kibet is a 4-time U.S. representative at the World Championships. Didn't finish this time, but he's certainly an American to keep an eye on here.
It's a 40 years old guy. He's coming with a good performance, with a good PB. He ran very well last year in Boston, and it's motivating me.
He wanted to run really well here last year and got called away. We'll get more of that here as the race goes on, but Elkanah Kibet is here as we spin through some of the other fellas in there. Zouhair Taubi from Morocco is a guy that maybe we should keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, it's like a black horse in the group. Yeah, because he's coming, it's so quiet, but I know he's trained very well for this race, and is waiting for the window, like a New York City Marathon.
And we think a lot of the East African runners, but Morocco, they got dudes that can go.
Of course. It's a good tradition from the Hicham El Guerrouj and others in the track, and also in the marathon here in New York.
When they come through, Andrew Butcher, I know both you guys are, Kerry and Juan Luis, you've got your eye on him.
Yeah, Andrew is looking to the debut here in New York. He's coming with that really good performance in the half marathon, and in his last post in Instagram, he put a lot of training, really good training.
So the men are out there. They're still going up the bridge, so they'll have their slow first mile, then they will come back and bring it down. And we look at the women's professional field, and they've gone through some of their first miles. And now Kellen Taylor, she was out front, she went back to the pack, she settled in, now she's back out in front. They've run 5:54, 5:20, 5:29, and 5:38. So right now, that's kind of a 2:26:30 pace. Des Linden, I thought maybe we'd be quicker. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's about right. They're just warming up and getting into things. You'll kind of see it yo-yo back and forth. I think a lot of these women are being patient, waiting for the second half, tapping into that half marathon speed. Kellen doesn't want to do that. She has one goal today, and that's to maximize her fitness. You're going to see her run steady and even, and I think you're going to see the pack yo-yo behind her. They're probably coming into a water stop soon. They group up again. Everyone gets a little antsy about getting to the table first, and then they'll probably tail off a little bit, and you'll see Kellen out in front again. And that's I'm guessing that's going to be the strategy over the first half. So she's going to keep it moderate for them, get the most out of herself, and then I think fireworks over the second half.
So Kellen Taylor there, and just you see there in kind of the what is that, a lavender with Edna Kitt-Legat, who was the 2010 champ and is back here for the 6th time. We take a look at the TCS leaderboard, and there it is. And here's the thing: you've got 5 of them there. Essentially, you've got 10 people. They're all tied for first, and they all have the same time.
Yeah. Obiri, Kosgei, Gidey stay together behind the group, so they are making a really smart race.
And also right there, you saw her in there, Molly Huddle is there, is in that lead pack as well. As we go back to what is really now, I consider the marathon, right? We have the race, but this is where the things happen. You got waves and waves of people to come through. This race used to start at 10:40 in the morning. We could stay in bed, we could sleep, it was great. But if you're going to go from 23,000 people to 50, then you got to move it up so all these people can get done. So it's ready for these people to get their journey on at the New York City Marathon. It'll move you, and so will Frank. On your board. And buses that bring all these people back, and they take the Staten Island ferry all the way out there to Fort Wadsworth, and then it's just like, okay, now everybody run home.
Well, and they get out there so early. It's kind of a big party before the whole, kit and caboodle starts, if that's what we want to say. But they have so much fun out there. I've been staged out there before, and it is really something else. Like, there's so many different countries represented, so many athletes. It's a blast.
And it seems counterintuitive because you're out there, right? And they're like, here, free donuts. And you're like, do I want free donuts on the one day that I'm going to go run 26 miles?
They want the hat.
26 miles is all they go, man. And you want to talk about all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, ethnicities, and nationalities. It's crazy. And let's take a look at the course that they're going to run. 26.2 miles and 26 turns, Carrie Tullifson.
Yes, and this part right here where they're going over the Verrazzano Bridge, it is so exciting for them. They got to kind of keep it in check, though, because through Brooklyn, you're going to run miles 3 through 15. It's going to get loud. It's going to get quiet. And especially when you work your way into Queens. When you go over the Queensboro Bridge, it's really loud, and you're halfway home.
Yep, Queensboro is the halfway point. And then the next big bridge that you go over is when you get yourself off of the Queensboro and you go into Pulaski Bridge halfway, Queensboro, and you're on to First Avenue, and that's the big one where you want to behave because all the crowds get loud and you want to run as fast as you can, and it's not always great. So you're in Manhattan for about 4 miles. You go up in, touch the Bronx for a little bit, and now we come home. And Juan Luis, mile 23 is tough out there.
Yes, of course, it's tough, but you know what? When you see all this picture of the road, the New York City Marathon is the race.
It is the race, and you finally around Columbus Circle, you're back into the park, and you find yourself here at the finish line, and you get your medal, and you get your apple, and you get your water, and then you just get all this relief like, I did it. And I don't know that there's anything better than that. I did it. As they're still working through. That first mile can be slow just because there's traffic.
There's a lot of traffic. There's a lot of bodies out there.
When you get that many people. So we got that many people. And listen, we don't have 50,000 people covering this race, but we do have a bunch of them. And we want to introduce everybody to Bex Gentry, who I would introduce, but since Carrie, you ran 7 miles with this woman on Friday, I'll let you tell the people who we're listening to.
It's been a blast getting to know Bex Gentry. She is from here she lives here now in New York City. Peloton instructor, coach, mommy, partner. You know, and the other thing that I love that Bex Gentry says about this marathon is it's a love letter from New York City to the runners. So Bex, welcome.
Thank you so much, Carrie. Oh my goodness, it is such an honor to be here at the TCS New York City Marathon finish line. But most importantly, we have over 53,000 everyday runners who have just started their journey of 26.2 miles from the Verrazzano Bridge all the way to this glorious, glorious finish line in Central Park. I am so incredibly lucky that through my work, I get to coach a lot of people, and I have well over 100 of them out there today on their journey, and I am so, so proud of every single runner. I always say to people, never forget that forwards is a pace, so whether you are walking, jogging, or running your distance today, keep your head up high. The thing about New York that I love the most, though, is our everyday runners. They are just setting out on the exact same route that our professionals have just set out on as well. They are following them. We are so lucky to have them here. Expect the unexpected. Thank you so much.
Yeah, everybody runs the same course. That's not happening when you're playing golf at the U.S. Open, and it's certainly not on the same day. And we should just, I don't want to make this an aside because it's amazing. Bex is also a 2:32 marathon.
Yeah, she's pretty elite.
Are we kidding? That's ridiculous that she came through. Women came through in 34:35 for their first 10K. You take a look at the folks coming across the bridge. We're all about 26.2, but I know Sunday and Monday nights, a lot of people are worried about that sport that's just 100 yards. Tomorrow, week 9, Monday night football matchup features Justin Herbert and the Chargers, Zach Wilson of the Jets, because as you know, Aaron Rodgers isn't playing yet. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern on ABC, ESPN Deportes. That's where you get Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. And then on ESPN2, it's Peyton and Eli Manning. I figured those guys are over. They're not running this race. We should check the start. I'm pretty sure Peyton and Eli are out there. Back with more from the TCS New York City Marathon on ESPN2 and ABC7 right after this. Back here at the 52nd TCS New York City Marathon, update with our wheelchair racers who have not changed very much since the very first few miles of this. Marcel Hoog on his way to a record-breaking 6th marathon title here in New York City, and Catherine Brunner with a chance to win her first, to go along with the wins that she had both in Berlin and Chicago over the last couple of months.
Yeah, she's liked it so far over here in America. The last month has been pretty successful for her, but to be all alone this far out, you know, she went for it in Chicago. That's sort of how she went for it, but Susanna Scroney was right there on her shoulder like they were in Berlin. So this is a little bit different for her.
A little bit of surprise, too, because this is the first time she's really been involved in a hilly course. Yep. And so far, she's handled it very, very well. There's the lead pack in the women's professional race. Molly Huddle, Helen Taylor, two of the Americans that are in this race, because as we said, many of them have their eye on the Olympic trials in Orlando in 90 days.
Look how calm. I mean, Molly Huddle's mouth is almost shut. I mean, they are really relaxed right here. You can see that. This is where Molly likes to run, right? She likes to go for the win. She's somebody that has done so well at the World Championships, also at the Olympics, but I'm not sure she wants to be leading right now.
And then, Juan Luis, as we look at the men's pack, I always look at this and I think, well, they're running. I don't know that they're racing just
yet. Now it's so early to make the moves. It's a big group, but we can start because maybe when he crossed the 5K mat, start the fight.
They'll see what happens here. Galen Rupp, we are really privileged to have one of the great American distance runners still in his prime out there on the lead moto. 4 times an Olympian, got a couple of Olympic medals. Ran here last year. Good thing here, Galen. I know you're going to finish this time around, so I'm happy about that. Give us your first impressions of New York City from this view that you have. All right, testing out. Well, that's just a tease. Galen Rupp is here. Galen Rupp, we saw him yesterday. I guarantee you he's around. He's watching this race, so we'll get to him as well. Coming off a really good finish in Chicago last month, where he finished 8th and was healthy. And he's a finish is a big part of what's happening there as they come through. And he said, right now it's just I always wonder, Juan Luis, if we're in for sort of a long run and a short race, or if we're going to have a short run and a long race. And right now, here's the
short race and a long race then.
Yeah, we'll see how they come through there. He said there's Talbi, the Moroccan, who...
Coming into the group, he's running really confident. And now it's Nagiji. It's like the guy is making the moves in the front of the group.
Talbi's out there. He's you said he is the Moroccan.
And the Morocco, yeah.
Right now, they've got great Moroccan runners with Soufiane El Bakaye, who's won the World Championships and the Olympics here at 3,000 meters in the steeplechase when he comes by. And Cam Levins, he's kind of there in the back left, pink shoes, got some black socks on. He's the Canadian who has the North American record. When he set the Canadian record, it's also North American. So that means he's the fastest Canadian, United States, or Mexico.
Yeah.
He's our guy. He's our continent right there. So, and he ran 2:05 in a really great race in Tokyo where they bunched together, 6, 7 guys that came through really quick in that.
Another Chechirek is into the group, so he's a really smart guy.
Let's take a quick look at the TCS leaderboard for the men as they're 17 and a half minutes into their race. There's Talbi's up there, Albert Carrere, the past champ. There's Ches as you sits in third place, and Juan Luis. He's run several halves. He was really quick in Copenhagen, ran 59:11. Is it intimidating to have to run that second half for the first time?
Yeah, of course. When you have a really good time in the half marathon, it's like a extra point when you go to the full. But it's not like a rule. Sometimes if you have a really nice times, means nothing in the full marathon.
Well, and guys anymore, they train so hard and train so far that, it's almost, Tony Revis has famously said, they've out-trained the distance anymore. And with the shoes, people go quick and go quick. So mile 3, 23 more for them to go. They are, I don't want to say they are biding their time, but they are certainly marking time before they really get into this. As we are coming up very close to the end of our professional men's wheelchair race, and the women just behind. And Amanda McGrory back with us. She's out there. She's dropped back. Ladies! And so I think we might have Hannah very excited to see some people as well. Amanda, Catherine is still there and she's still alone. Yes. I am shocked. Are you?
I am so surprised to see this. Catherine DeBrunner looks incredible. She's slowed down a little bit. I saw her climbing up the Queensboro Bridge, which is, in my opinion, the hardest part of this course. She slowed down a little bit, but she kept her pace steady. She's staying strong, and she's, I think, almost 5 minutes ahead of Susanna Scaroni, who's going to be our first American finisher and in second place right now.
It is really a remarkable performance by her so far. Plus, right, she's out there. She's led the entire way. You talked about how there's some etiquette about sharing the work. She's got nobody to share with.
She doesn't. She's been out there all on her own. We talk a lot when we're talking about wheelchair racing. Like any other sport on wheels, you get a slipstream effect. You can tuck in behind somebody, and the person in front is doing more work. You're moving at the same speed, and it's a little bit easier for you behind them. In some conditions,
marathon major that he is going to sweep all 6 of these as he is in the Volvo final mile.
The nickname is perfect for him.
There is no silver quicker than the silver bullet, to be sure.
Going for his 6th title right here, and here he comes.
Yep, comes around. He's come into view to the fans here at the finish area because it's, to quote LeBron, not 1, not 2, not 3, 4, or 5. Marcel Hug, a record 6th win in the TCS New York City Marathon, and he comes through in a, he has broken the course record. Oh, it's so close. Just listen, does he care? So close. He is the 6-time champion. There had been 5-time champions, Kurt Fernley, who was with us last year in this booth, and Tatiana McFadden. They were tied, all of them at 5, and now Marcel Hug stands alone.
He definitely cares. That's $50,000 more if he gets under that course record. And he set so many course records this year. But you wonder, does he ever get sick of winning? I don't think so. I think he loves it.
He won the series. Tokyo, Boston,
every single one of them.
Berlin, Chicago, and New York.
Again and again and again. And it's just, it's one thing with greatness, like you don't get tired of it. At least I don't. To see him again and again and again, it's like some people, it's the same old guy. That's not a same old guy. That is a unique individual. That is a unique champion. And that is the New York City Marathon champion. Now we just got to get Catherine the Bruner home and see how she comes through. If she'll have her first TCS New York City Marathon. It's the 52nd running of the TCS New York City Marathon. The 22nd for the Wheelers. We're going to crown a champ there, too, right after this. Welcome everyone back to the TCS New York City Marathon, and time now for our TCS stats presented by Tata Consultancy Services. And this is a look at what happened when the women passed the 10K mark, 6.2 mile, based on a 10K that's run through there. Kellen Taylor, 34:35, and that's just as comparison to that course record held by Margaret Okeyo of 34:14. So that's the time, but obviously the concern here before anything is winning. Hannah Storm, always winning. That's what we're talking about.
Todd, it's so great to be back on the air with you at the marathon. And most of the professional athletes competing here today, as you well know, have prepared for this day with a singular focus: miles, workouts, sleep, nutrition. These are the primary concerns of an elite runner. But for the past year, 28-year-old American Reed Fisher has been forced to downshift his attention on running as he and his wife Christine face a medical crisis that has changed his perspective on the sport and what really matters.
I found a lump in my breast late October of 2022.
January 10th, we finally got the official diagnosis, which was breast cancer. I was scheduled to fly out 2 days later for a half marathon race.
And I was like, well, you should go race. Why wouldn't you go race?
100%, there's no way I'm leaving you in this moment.
No hesitation on his part.
And the running is absolutely taking a backseat in this.
I've always known that he loves me, but that just really showed in that moment.
For so long, it just felt like we were flying out of a plane without a parachute.
Thinking that I wasn't going to be able to go through these milestones, like being a mom or seeing Reed be a dad, was really, really devastating. And I really can't have ever imagined going through this with anybody else.
Looking at her, it's like, man, there are so many moments that could have very easily broken me.
It's not forever. Nothing's a given.
Been easier for me to dig deep, just knowing that, yeah, there's a lot to dig deep for.
Mortality a little bit more,
This is a great way to kind of cap off the 3 years that have happened between last Olympic trials and this one. Coming in this year, I'll be the top returning American. This is a really prime opportunity for me to go out and compete against the best in the world and see where I stack up.
So you watch that, Carrie, and you're reminded that they run faster than us, but everything else in their life is just the same as life.
Yeah, running is very important to us, right? But when life happens, it has to be top priority. And these two are quite the team. They really are putting each other first. And he's running hard. Look at her. Look at his ribbon on his chest. And Reed, he's from Minnesota, so I got a special place in my heart. But I also am rooting for them big time. And Christine sounds like she's doing really well. So way to go, Christine.
Running right along there with Andrew Bouchard of Great Britain. Part of what is a pack of, all the elites are there, Juan Luis.
Yeah, they are more than 10 runners all running together. Mm-hmm. And the prediction time in that moment is under 2:10 race.
Right now they're averaging 4:56 through the first 5 miles. That Hendrik Pfeiffer, the German, is the man out front. Aerodynamic up top, as you can see. Elkanah Kabet is right there. The American as they come through, and he really would like to be a guy that finishes top 5 here. People want to go to the podium, but in his case, top 5 helps unlock that 3rd spot for the U.S. Olympic team. That is very much something they were looking at in Chicago. Clayton Young and Connor Mance with their finishes in 6th and 7th got 2 spots for sure. And just getting confirmation on the time, by the way, on Marcel Hoog. Missed the course record by 3 seconds.
Oh, so close.
What a shame. Terrible one. So there's the men's race. So we still have 3 races going. So the wheelchair's done. Congratulations, Marcel Hoog. We're getting close to the finish in the women's race. We'll keep track of that women's wheelchairs race. Men are out there, and of course we also have the women's race. And you're looking at last year's champ, Sharon Lucchetti, who was a winner from last year. She was a former 10,000-meter champ in the NCAA, went to the University of Kansas, and she won last year, and her mom watched it all on the app. Sharon Lucchetti in her 26.2 debut as the champion.
Thinking about my mom, really, like she's been in the rock for our family for a very long time.
I remember I was kneeling down in my carpet there in the house. We could talk like she was here with me. And when she was running, I could cry loud. Sometimes I call her, run, run.
So grateful and happy that TCS has an app that everybody can experience and watch their friends, their family, and support them and just be able to like see every part of their race.
So cool. That was an incredible performance by Sharon Lucchetti, winning here in New York in her marathon debut. So wonderful that her mother, Rose, could experience the thrill of that from her home in Kenya on the TCS mobile app. But this year, Rose, she just had to see it in person for herself. And she is standing by with Lewis Johnson. Lewis?
Yes, she is, Hannah. Thank you so much. Well, Rose, here you are in America for the first time. What's the experience been like so far to be here and get ready to watch this race?
Sorry?
What's it been like for you to be here now in America for the first time to watch your daughter run?
I'm very happy. I feel like I'm being honored to be here.
Wow.
Because this is my first time. I would have not come to the U.S. if it is not for my daughter. So I'm very happy.
Awesome. You got to see her this morning before she went out to the start. What did you say to her before this run today?
I told her that she go for it because what God has planned, that nobody can change.
Right.
If it is for her, it is for her, and we want the gold again. So I told her she go for it.
Go for it. All righty. Well, we wish you a great time here. Welcome to the United States. The finish line is right there, and we'll see if she can repeat again today. Enjoy, all right?
Amen.
All right.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. John?
Thank you, Lewis. Yeah, amen. Listen, that's got to be hard to send your daughter thousands and thousands of miles away to college at the school, even though there's opportunities. But some of these athletes, you get here, you talk to many of them, at least I see often in the NCAA, and I talk to, there's a wonderful runner at Patrick Kiprop at the University of Arkansas. I said, when was the last time he was home? And he's 3 years.
Yep.
You know, it can be very difficult for them.
But one thing with Sharon is now she's been able to go home and train. You know, this has given her a lot of opportunity by winning here, and she's been able to train in Kenya with her family. She gets to see them. She's the oldest sister in her group. She loves her family and being with her sisters, and she's coming here with lots of pressure. So she said staying in Kenya gave her that ability to really just hone in and just do what she wants to do with her training and not have a lot of extra things to do. And now she comes back as defending champion, and guess what? She says, I'm going to have fun, and I'm going to hopefully break the tape.
She won here in her debut, was supposed to run in Boston, had a foot injury, couldn't run. So then they added Helen O'Beary to the field, and lo and behold, they added the champion. So all that, and look, we have your AmCam.
Yes, we have the American camera. I've been fighting for it.
There's Molly Huddle out front.
Yeah, she is out in front. We saw Des, who's on the moto. We saw her do this last year too. You know, when you want to be in a rhythm and you want to run your race, this is sometimes what you have to do.
Could be a really comeback for her.
Yeah, be a great comeback for her.
Yeah, and I guess if you feel good at this point, right, you haven't raced in a long time at something at this distance, if you feel good, flow with it as long as you can is where you want to go. So Molly Huddle is out early in the women's race. Men's race has gone through the 10K mark, and the women's wheelchair race almost ready to finish. We got a lot to cover when we come back in the TCS New York City Marathon.
Heck
Here to bring you the professional women's wheelchair finish at the TCS New York City Marathon. Catherine DeBrunner is out there all by herself, with the exception of Amanda McGrory. Amanda, give us one more report before she gets home.
To Central Park with Catherine DeBrunner. She's looking great. She's looking strong. She is so far ahead of the field right now. She has nothing to worry about. This is an incredible performance on a really, really hard course. A lot of people don't do well their first time at the New York City Marathon, but she's shattering that myth.
And we've had 4 different winners of the first 5 marathon majors, with Manuela Schar in Tokyo, and then Susanna Scaroni, who was in Boston. And now you have Catherine DeBrunner, who's going to take the last 3. But you can still see there's some fatigue showing in those arms. She's pushed a long, long way.
And she's had a long season. You know, this is the end for a little bit of a break after this. But one thing that I love is that she's a teacher back home. She's taken a little bit of time for herself to be able to train a little bit more. She has 2 different training bases. She said she's been working super hard on her core and strength right now. But love the fact that she's in the classroom. She said all of these kids are asking her about her chair. They're asking about her racing. And so many kids are looking up to her now thinking, hey, maybe one day I can do something like this as well. So Catherine DeBrunner making impact on all of us, but also these young kids.
Sorry, but also DeBrunner has 4 world records, 100 meters, 200 meters, 400 meters, 800 meters, and marathon.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's good at everything. Yeah.
Well, and the course record here is 1:42.43, so she's got about 1 minute and 10 seconds to get home for that. She has the course record in London. She has the course record in Berlin. She just set the course record in Chicago, so there's a chance she could have 4 of the 6 major marathon course records, depending on how she finishes here. And honestly, I want to just go, well, she does say that part of her secret to success is she has a bite of chocolate every day. But by that theory, I should be great at everything, because I have way more than a bite of chocolate every day. Don't you think? Right? Like, I don't know that transfers quite like I want it to.
I think that what she's trying to tell all of us is that she has fun while she's training at this world-class level.
My whole life is a cheat day. Yeah, I'll eat that. That looks terrific when she comes through. So now that she's into the final mile, and as the clock ticks, it becomes, this is significant, because in addition to the $35,000 first prize, there's a $50,000 bonus to break the course record. And that spins.
She says she's training 10 times a week in the chair, 2 times in the gym, but she's also on the rowing machine, and she really thinks that has a big effect.
It's at the professional athlete 10
on this marathon training.
So 1:42, 1:43. So we've passed that now. So now we're just here. We're in it to win it, is where she'll come, and through Central Park, and that last little hill that she comes, and then it's the downhill that brings you home. And her 3rd straight marathon victory, but her first in New York. Catherine, she's the big wheel and the big apple in this one. Champion of the TCS New York City Marathon for 2023. For the first time, Catherine DeBrunner through the tape.
You could just see the emotion, John. I mean, she has been going hard, and she's been traveling hard, and she works so hard back home, but that is what it's all about right there. The push that she used today to conquer the hills, which she hasn't really seen a lot of. Look at how strong she was today. Awesome.
Impressive performance.
Terrific. Yep, and she clinches the Abbott World Marathon Majors title for the year, so that's a nice bonus as she comes through. Is that Dorian there to greet her?
Dorian Kale right there.
So 2 champs here in New York City, 2 to come. The men's professional, the women's professional. A lot of race to go. There's Molly Huddle out front. And on the men, well, we got 2 in the front, but we got a long time before we sort that whole group, although they've broken up a little bit more. A lot more coming. Back here at the TCS New York City Marathon, and you're looking there at American Elkanah Kabet, part of the U.S. Army's world-class athlete program, top American in 21. He wanted to run in 22, but he had a work obligation, or actually, duty called.
2021, I was injured. I got healthy in spring, and New York was my first race. The crowds, they were cheering, when you come towards the last 6 miles and it's so loud, that was amazing. I had a great race. It was a comeback for me. I was supposed to come back to New York at the fall of 2022, but I'm in the Army. My unit was supposed to deploy. I had to respond to the call and serve overseas. I'm really excited to come and race New York again. Making top 5 will be a great achievement for me, so that's my goal.
And back last year when he didn't race, all we knew was he had been deployed with his unit. Nobody said where or what. Turns out he was in Poland, is where he was off to serve, and now back in the States, and now actually back and able to run again in the New York City Marathon, Elkanah Kebet. As we look at the TCS New York City Marathon leaderboard, Tamrat Tola is out there, and although Kebet has fallen a bit off the pace, he has still got his eye very much on trying to get to Orlando and get himself on the Olympic team.
Yeah, the men's group is broken, and now you can see in the front to the leaders, it's Courier is in the front, like always, and he's looking the podium. So it's a different, like a 20 meters or maybe 50 meters behind the second group.
Yep, they've stretched out. They've got a couple of packs there, so Talby is right there.
And the Morocco guy.
Career, that's Talby, is from Morocco. Tola, who again was an ad after Evans Chebet, the defending champ and the Boston champ, was unable to return here. Two-time champ Jeffrey Kamworwar. So as you said, hey, if you're going to put somebody on the field, 2:03 isn't terrible. And so back for another bite of the apple. His third New York City run is Tamrat Tola, who was fourth here in 2018 and 2019. But he's a good ad, and obviously he certainly appears to be fit up through this first 10K, first 15K.
Tola, the fastest guy in the field. He's also the 12th fastest man ever on this course, 15th fastest man ever with his 2:03. But the guy in the middle, Talby, you guys are talking a little bit about him. People in America know him a little bit more because he was a 7-time All-American here. And he also is somebody that really ran well in Boston this year, 5th. But he's kind of known for being a track star and then, doing well over the half marathon. But a lot of people are watching to see how he does in 26.2 again. 5th in Boston is a huge stat. Got to talk about him here.
Ran out here at the New York half as well and finished third there, running 62.18, and ran Oklahoma City University, so he was down there in the NAI level. But when you get here, you get older, you mature, he's very much a world-class runner. So as we watch them make our way through the streets, we go up top. Hannah Storm with more. Hannah?
Hey, John. So the second of 4 waves is off and running, and these folks are your friends, your co-workers, just everyday men and women whose athletic exploits may never be on SportsCenter, but for whom running a marathon represents a very significant personal accomplishment. And here to tell us a little bit more about what these runners' experiences are like, once again, we go to Bex Gentry. Hey, Bex.
Hi, Hannah. Thank you so much. So as we are here today, we have our everyday runners stepping out. And what I love about New York is the diversity of our runners here. We have runners ranging from 18 to 88 years old. We have a lot of different people towing the line and coming to this finish line today. We have the average time of just under 5 hours, which is phenomenal. Those runners who are taking over 5 hours are taking in the sights and the beauty of this magnificent city with every step that they take. As Carrie said, I love to say this is a love letter from the city to every single runner out here today. And what they get to experience is truly, truly magical. And as you can see, they all have the best day ever. The waves, the happiness, the smiles, it transcends anything that happens on the unexpected side. As we're cheering through every runner that comes through from now up until the small hours of the night, I can tell you that New York City shows up, that no matter what time of day it is, there's going to be people out here celebrating the achievements of every runner, from professional through to the everyday runner. Just look at them all there. It's absolutely brilliant. We're going to be having people starting all the way through to just before midday today. So you're going to continue to see the joy exuding from Staten Island through the 5 boroughs of New York City. Well, we're going to keep cheering them on, and we're going to keep welcoming people into the finish line right here today. Thank you, team.
Thanks, Bex. And so many smiles and cheers at the start, and those turn into tears of joy and relief at the finish line. And a little earlier, I told you how ABC News is running today's marathon as a relay, and Kimberly Richardson is with us on 4th Avenue there in Brooklyn with one of the relay team members. Hey, Kimberly. Oh, what?
Wait, ladies! Bye, Rebecca! Ginger!
Yes!
Do you need to catch your breath?
I'm good.
You just completed your leg of the ABC News relay. How was it?
It was outstanding. It really was. Perfect morning weather-wise. And it felt so good to be with Team for Kids. When I grabbed the baton from Will, it like really started, you know, the energy. And I ran way too fast. I feel bad for the team.
No, you're holding up your leg. Are you going to keep running?
I would, if they let me. Not with those ladies. The winner, they're like...
Wait, you're with the women?
The women. I beat the women, is what I'm saying.
Yes, you did. How was this team building experience for everybody?
It was so special because a lot of the people don't even run. I haven't run a ton since I had kids, but there is something about running for not just your physical health, but your mental health. And I think that's the part that gets me so pumped every time. I feel like I'm flying high right now.
Congratulations. You did your team good. Good stuff.
Doing all this work.
Of course. No, this isn't easy.
It's a long day. Good luck.
Thank you. Ginger Z.
As we look now at the professional runners, there's no baton pass here. They have to go all 26 by their lonesome. On the left is the women's race. On the right is the men's pack. And I just want to make a correction because it's a very expensive correction I had to make for Catherine Brunner, who the clock I was looking at in here was off. She actually did break the course record. So now she's got 4 course records.
Yes.
139.32. First woman ever under 140 on the New York Marathon course for the women's wheelers. So that's important to us to get it correct. It's important to her because that's 50 grand in her pocket for setting the course record there.
But one race that isn't on course record pace is the women's race. Huge pack still, but everybody, they went through the half in 1:14:20. Now, when Margaret Okayo set the record in 2003, she went through slow too, but it was 1:11:15. So we're 3 minutes off of that. Now, can the women, you know, make up some time? Maybe, but I don't know if that course record's going down. And that's what it's all about in New York. It's all about getting to the finish line first, and that time, they throw it out the window.
Well, that is the one thing that is consistent about this place all the time, is they just talk about this is a race, this is a competition. There's no pace setter, so you're out there trying to figure these things out on your own. You got your watch on your wrist, but beyond that, it's very much a feel thing.
Yes, you are on the race. It's not pacers. It's not like a fast course. It's a tactical race, always.
And there's, you know, you always have to respect the distance, but in this place there's a special respect because of those bridges on the second half of this course that make the thing, they're hard on tired legs.
It's hard, but can I just say we have women that have run 2:14. Bridget Koska is the 3rd fastest marathoner of all time, and she's running about 15 minutes slower than she has.
Well, there's time to make things up, as we said. The women are halfway through the race, and it's still a lot of people's races. And while there's 5 there on the men's pack, Cam Levins and some are just behind. They're certainly not out of touch as we continue on with the TCS New York City Marathon here on ESPN2 and ABC 7. Back here at TCS New York City Marathon, and I want to show you again TCS stats presented by Tata Consultancy Services, and this is the women's half. This is kind of what, Carrie, you were alluding to. They go through in 1:14:21, which is well off the course records, which I thought was going to get smoked today.
I did too. I really did. I mean, you look at the field that we have, I thought they were going to get a little bit bored, which it looks like Gaudet might be a little bit bored out there right now, saving it for that final kick.
And there you see on the men's side, Albert Career, the former champ here, goes through 15K at 45 minutes. And there you see what Evans Chibet did last year. The men are not going up against the course record held by Jeffrey Mutai. We're just looking in relation to last year, which was a little closer. That's where the champion went through in that time. Because you remember Danielle Nascimento was way out front, but nobody's looking like they want to run 61.22 for the first half here today. Women's lead pack. All of the proper fill-ins are involved.
All of them are up there. You know, we knew it was a little bit of a smaller field, but small but mighty, right? And they're all in there. And look at them. I mean, Des was the one that told me that G'day looked bored. She's out there with them, and she said they're just on a Sunday afternoon jog almost, you know. But that's what
professional finish. Marcel Hoog. I'd say stop me if you've heard this one before, but he wins in 2023. What's amazing is not only has he won 6, but he won his very first one all the way back in 2013. So it has been a decade of greatness for him. Marcel Hoog, followed by Daniel Romanchuk. So he's got his place on the Paralympic team going to Paris. And Yetzi Plott, again, who made his debut here, has come through with another third-place champion. And we have Lewis Johnson out here because this is Lewis's big thing. If you got champions, you find Lewis. Lewis, you're with our winner.
I am with the winner, John. Thank you so much. Well, Marcel, congratulations again, and explain to us all, what does it mean to get your 6th win here in New York?
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's incredible. I think it needs some time to realize what happened, but at the moment I'm just so tired from this race. Yeah. It was really tough, but I'm so happy as well. Yeah.
We're all trying to understand something, Marcel, because there's something inside you that allows you to take off, lead, race by yourself, and win over and over again. Can you describe what that is inside you that allows you to do that?
I think there's many things. One thing is just I want to try to break the course record. So I want to do a race against the clock, go fast as possible. And the other thing is that it feels more comfortable to your own race, not too much tactical, but it's really tough to be alone outside.
Yeah. So you have one more race in Japan, and then you're going on vacation. Do you actually take a vacation? Do you stop racing for a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I need some rest. It was a very long season, very tough, and I will take some rest, definitely, yeah.
Great. We enjoyed seeing you here. Enjoy the vacation. Back next year in New York, right?
Definitely, I will be back.
All righty, Marcel, congratulations once again. John, what can you say?
Thank you, Lewis. Why wouldn't you come back? Oh, by the way, in addition to those majors, he won in Dubai. He won a marathon there as well. On the women's side, her very first New York appearance and her very first New York win, Catherine de Bruyne, in a time that was indeed a course record. She comes in under 140, so now she has 4 course records. The former primary school teacher, but right now on top as the finest wheelchair racer in the world. Her fellow Swiss behind her, Manuela Schar is in second, and then Susanna Scaroni, the defending champ, comes through in 3rd place. And again, Lewis and his champions are back out at the finish line. Lewis?
Well, what a moment it was for Catherine de Bruyne. And listen, you came across the finish line and we saw the emotion, the tears. Can you just describe what was going through your mind?
It's difficult to describe in words, actually. But I said to my coach that if I win this race, then it's just the best performance I've ever showed. And yeah, I knew it's the toughest marathon of all, and it was my first time. And I also knew the field is stronger than ever. So I knew it's gonna be so tough, and I came away much earlier than I expected, so I did the whole race by myself, and I was just so exhausted and so happy. It's just a roller coaster of emotions, but I'm so happy. It means the world to me.
Well, you did a lot here. You won your first New York City Marathon, you broke the course record, and you also clinched the Abbott World Marathons Majors. I mean, what about all this that you did today here in New York?
Yeah, I think that's also one of the reasons why I was so emotional. I win this whole marathon series, and that's just so insane. It has been a fairy tale year with the Laureus Award, with the records, with the world champs. It's just unbelievable.
And so, will we see you back here in 2024?
Yeah, I plan to do marathons. I don't know yet exactly which marathons, because it's a Paralympic year, so I need to make choice. But I will definitely come back.
The Tears say we want to see you back. Congratulations once again on a tremendous day, all right?
Thank you so much.
All righty, John, how about the emotion here, huh?
Certainly amazing. The wave of it's funny how there is the exhaustion and the emotion, all that comes through it. So, and behind them, as we said, this is a very important race for the American wheelers, as it's their get a chance to be selected and earn a spot on the USA team for the Paralympics and go to Paris. And those spots, the auto qualifiers, go to Daniel Romanchuk, Aaron Pike, come through, and then Susanna Scaroni and Tatiana McFadden. Good to see McFadden have a nice result.
Yeah, McFadden is coming back. She's excited about it, but this is such a breath of fresh air for these athletes. You know, that's one thing to get the standard out of the way, but then to get your place out of the way and your selection, they are excited about that. They definitely need to celebrate. Congratulations.
Got 6,500 runners out here, 571 official charities, and one of those, of course, is the V Foundation for Cancer Research, named for the late legendary coach Jim Valvano. Well represented out here, 67 participants, including 4 of my ESPN colleagues, employees that are running for New York and for Team V. In the last decade, Team V runners have raised almost $4 million. To learn more and to help fund critical cancer research, please visit www.v.org/Team V. As Jimmy V would say, don't give up. Don't ever give up. They raised more than $57.5 million for charity in this race. It's fantastic. Welcome back, everyone, to the TCS New York City Marathon. Good look at one of the 5 bridges that we go here. There's the Queensboro Bridge. They go across that and then they get down onto First Avenue. I want to remind you the college basketball season tips off tomorrow. We start with a history-making women's matchup. Number 10, Notre Dame, Anna Storm. Number 6, South Carolina square off in Paris. First ever NCAA men's or women's basketball game in that city. Coverage begins at 1 Eastern, 10 Pacific. It's on ESPN, and it is on the app as well. The Irish and the Gamecocks. So we have had a rash of world records. 6 weeks ago, those were your world records. Bridget-Kosgei, and then Tigges Assefa went to Berlin and smashed 2:11:53, and Calvin Kiptum took away the GOAT, Kipchoge's record. Juan Luis, 2 minutes and 35. That's stupid fast.
2 hours.
2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours. It's crazy, but maybe soon we can see under 2 hours, official 2 hours.
Yeah, I was on the call for that race, and the Pacers were having a hard time. They were trying to go as long as they could, but this man is in a league of his own.
And Bridget-Kosgei,
is that better?
The last time Bridget-Kosgei finished a marathon, she had the 1st and 3rd fastest times. Mm-hmm. Those times are now 3rd and 9th, and that's all in the last 20 months.
Yeah, Seifa has the new world record. Safan Hassan ran 2:13 in Chicago as well. It is a different ballgame now. The marathon has changed.
And the wheelchair.
Which makes you wonder, why does Galen Rupp, why do you want to stay in this game, Galen, when you got to run 2 flat 35 to get my attention? Galen's out on the motos. We've got 5 out there in front. What are you seeing from your vantage point? Good to have you on the broadcast.
Hey, John, it's great to be here with you. Yeah, it seems like it's certainly a 5-man race, but one thing that's really stood out to me is Kitata has really kept about this 5-second gap for several miles now behind that lead group. And it's got to be a little maddening to see that gap and keep running when you're so close to those leaders. But, you know, he closed really hard last year in New York and has a lot of experience here, so definitely can't count him out as the race goes on.
With those 5, are we surprised that anybody's not there, like a Cam Levins or that Ches in his debut, that we don't see him up there?
A little bit, you know. I think that right now Cesarek has got to calm himself down, you know, and really this is what the marathon is all about. You go through such a wave of emotion during this race, and the more that he can calm down, there's so much running left to be done, and he can really chip away and make up a lot of ground in the later stages of this race.
What should I make of 62:43 for the first half?
it's definitely quick, you know, and they've still got the hill coming up with the Queensboro Bridge. Yeah, it's definitely a hot pace early on, so we'll see. But I got to say, Albert Carrere and Tamara Tola look really relaxed up front. They've been leading for the majority of the way now, and they look great. So it doesn't seem to be affecting them right now, but we'll see several miles how it hits the legs.
Thank you, Gail and Rupp. Albert Carrere, who doesn't always have the fastest time, but he finds himself on the podium all the time, which is really, that's a good skill to have. And we switch now over to the women's professional race. Des Linden in the moto with there. And Des, you still have quite a group to keep track of.
Yeah, it's pretty shocking. I mean, that's the first real challenge of the course, going over the Queensboro Bridge. You usually see big moves there. It's still remaining incredibly patient. I think what you see is leaders taking turns at the front, but the leadership of the group, the dictators of the pace, are sitting on the back. It's Gaudet and O'Beary. They're sitting back there watching each other, and you can see that everyone, when something happens on the front, they look to see what Gaudet and O'Beary do and respond accordingly. They haven't taken anything too serious yet. I will say Chip 2 has gone to the front a number of times. She looks the most antsy out of the group, and she looks comfortable, smooth. Talked to her agent earlier today. She ran a 107 half in the build-up. She's healthy, she's confident, so I would take her moves seriously, and I think they're kind of keeping an eye on her more than any other of the leaders that have taken a punch at the front to this point.
Des, you and I have talked about this moment right here. It's so loud. People get a little antsy. They get a little crazy at times in their racing. What is it about this moment right now?
Yeah, you come down the bridge and you have all that energy. There's a water stop in the middle of the bridge. There's all these things that you're trying to manage, and then you get this crowd, this burst of energy from the crowd, and it's easy to go wild here. It's fascinating to me that everyone is just not interested in taking a pull at the front. No interest in going fast today. It's watching, waiting, patience, patience. We heard that from O'Beary and her coach after last year. We wish she had been more patient, and so she's just taking her time today, and I think everyone's kind of keying off of her.
All right, Des, as she's there, I'm glad Des can hear us right now, because they are at New Balance Thunder Alley. That little decibel meter right there. And I don't know, like, I think the red's probably like a jet engine, something like that, or I don't know, red might be the people at a Taylor Swift concert when the encore starts, something like that, don't you think? Something super loud?
But one of the things that I love about this spot right here, and now we're seeing Bridget Koskei, who has not run this race, but we've seen the veterans from this course in the lead here. They know what happens in this moment. You have to hold on to your strategy. You have to kind of conserve some energy. It's almost bunching up right now, and in past, this is where lots of movement happens.
Gaudet is coming from the World Championships, remember?
Yep.
She won a medal. So it's
in the 10,000 meters.
Exactly.
And Kellen Taylor, who every time I watch her run, I think, wow, this is really great. And then I just keep thinking, but can you do it again in February? And that's going to be such a hard turnaround. But she's there. I want to point out, too, in the green kit, Mary Ngugi Cooper is very much in the fight in this thing. Edna Kiplagat is in there. Solange Jesus running as well. Bridget Koskei, she's trying to finish her first marathon since Tokyo 2022. Yeah. So that's 20 months since she's finished one. So there are a lot of great runners up there, and a case can be made for all of them. And then there's a little chip in there. We go, okay, maybe we'll see if they can hang on as well. Well, the thing that they don't get to do is take timeouts. They got to keep running. We get to have a brief respite, and I dig that. But we're back in a moment. During the break, you continue to get race coverage, and it's brought to you by our partners at New Balance. Listen, I love Sid McLaughlin, but I don't know how I'll take her over this distance. You know, I don't know, 400 flat, 400 with the hurdles, that's fine.
And who's she racing? If she's going against you, I'm definitely taking Sydney.
Well, yeah, I just went out here at 26.2. Yeah, listen, I'm not getting anywhere with her for sure. And ditto, I'm not getting on a course with Coco Gauff as well. So, and now they're just kind of jostling around. I love that this is so wide open as they head down First Avenue. Helen O'Beary is there. Koskei, as we said. Latesma Gaudet, who she's just, I mean, just quietly right there. You know that she's going to have something for them. Viola Cheptu who had such a great race here in her debut. It was so neat to be here with Bernard Lagat to watch him. Taylor Huddles right there, Edna, Solange, all the players as they now have 10 miles to go, and so the race will start heating up for sure.
Well, Googie Cooper to the front there has taken quite a quiet training approach to this marathon. No media, getting away and just focusing, and now she's in the lead.
She's gone through. She was 7th in London. She's been 3rd and 2nd and 7th and 9th this year at Boston. She was 10th here in November of 19 when she ran in this race here for the New York Marathon. What was that real quick, Lonley?
Yeah, Molly looks so good. He's in the group. He's making a really comeback now.
Molly Huddle, yeah, she's right there on the outside of the screen. And I think, too, has comfort knowing that Kellen Taylor is up there. They've raced a lot against each other, and they are vying for, you know, trying to get back into the form that they need for the Olympic trials on February 3rd.
It is all terrifically intriguing, and I'm glad we have 10 more miles of it to watch. In the interim, we go up and talk with Hannah Storm. Hannah?
Yeah, and can I say Molly Huddle, she's right there behind Taylor. Can I just say go Irish? I mean, you know.
You definitely can.
Let's go. Here with Ryan Field and Sam Ryan, of course, of ABC7. Now, Ryan had an interview with the mayor a few minutes ago, and he challenged you to run.
He did. I'm glad we're bringing that up. Yes, because she's been challenging me for 7 years to run this race.
But listen, now
I have to work alongside yourself and John and Carrie, so I don't know if I can make it on my way out.
Is that an excuse? No, it's actually no. We actually expect you to be out. You can be a course reporter.
I'll run with the headset.
Yeah, run with the headset. That would be really attractive. Sam, you have run this marathon 4 times, so give us a sense of, you know, what the men and women are going through out there.
Oh, this is amazing. We see the men on the 59th Street Bridge. We just saw the women come off the 59th Street Bridge. We heard Des speaking to it, how once they run up First Avenue, we saw the noise and just the excitement from the crowd that they're getting. When you're not a pro runner, you need that.
How invigorating is that?
It really is. It's my favorite part of this course.
It's your favorite part.
It is.
Not crossing the finish line, but that part.
Second.
And Ryan, I mean, you guys cover so many great professional sporting events here, although in New York it's been a little,
well, we don't like to bring that up.
Not so great, but the marathon is so unique in and of itself. Where is the marathon in sort of the pantheon of great sporting events in this city?
I mean, we might be a little biased because we air it here on Channel 7 in New York, but to me, it's the best weekend in the city. And Ted Metellus, the race director, said it perfectly today. He said, if variety is the spice of life, New York brings the flavor. We have 153 countries represented, all 50 states, so many ethnicities and nationalities coming together for one great cause here today to put on a show for the people of New York. You have 2 million spectators along the race course, and it's really, you know, you factor in the weather, just a real opportunity for the city to shine on a day like today.
Yeah, an absolutely beautiful day. So you get to training right after the broadcast today. Sam will have plenty of tips for you, and I know you guys will be on continuing coverage from 11:30 to 1 on ABC7 for those of you here in New York. In the meantime, we're going to pass along to your colleague, Michelle Charlesworth.
Little thing we like to call mile 16 out here. Look who I have, race director of the TCS New York City Marathon, Ted Metellus. You just picked me up and swirled me around. That was fantastic. You having a good time?
I'm having the best time. I mean, around you here. City, best day in the United States. It's the best day in the world.
Great. 128,000 people wanted to do this. 40% got in. It's highly selective. But it's not so, it's everybody. I got to profile one of the teachers and your team teachers. But please talk about what it's like to coordinate 50,000 people from all over the world.
I mean, it's the biggest party you can ask for in the people from all over the world lined up together, side by side, to make a difference. It's all about. It's amazing. World in action. We do it here in New York with the TCS New York City Marathon and at New York Road Runners every day.
People laugh, though. Elite runners, middle of the packers, who have done, like, they could do Berlin, Chicago, Marine Corps. They've done different marathons all over the world. What makes New York City something totally different? TCS New York City different, why?
Well, the field in the world, the greatest crowd in the world. What more can you here? I mean, seriously, that's it. Make it here, you can make it anywhere.
What are you most proud of?
It's about Friday. So much energy across of it. And just the work that goes into it from a collective effort. Everybody worked together as one, and today, runs as one.
Filter behind you.
Yeah, inspiration right there.
Such a great day, wonderful. What do you think about the weather?
Perfect. He's his mom and dad. Thank you. Yes, it's a perfect day, and you're seeing out here in the good vibes.
Boy, he's sticking out of the sunroof going down on First Avenue. Yeah. Woo! His back is going to be hurting tomorrow. All right, sending it back to you.
Okay, Michelle, it's Hannah. I'll take it from here. The first of many hugs that we're going to see today as we see the next wave emerge on this absolutely glorious fall day in New York. The professional women are in Manhattan. They're on First Avenue, the men around the Queensboro Bridge, and this is some 50,000 strong here in New York City for the world's largest marathon. If you want to be part of it, check out howNYRR.org.
My name. All right, back here at the TCS New York City Marathon, and things are getting spicy on First Avenue on the men's side. Galen Rupp is out there watching from the lead moto, but Tamara Tola and Jamal Yimmer in his debut have decided that they would like to take the race on themselves, and if anybody's interested, they can come with you. Galen Rupp, from your viewpoint, what's going on with these two that they've decided that they've had enough?
Yeah, I mean, career was with them coming off of the Queensboro Bridge. They were running 3 abreast, and that gap, it grew quickly. Coming on to First Avenue, career's definitely falling back. I'd say he's a good 7 seconds, and Tola looks comfortable still running from the front. He's shown, leading up to this race and the World Championships last year that he likes to run from the front. He likes to push early on, and he can definitely break people. But I have to say as well, I really like the race that Ymir's running. He's been sitting back. He's been conserving energy. Tola's been setting the pace, and Ymir's been happy to let him do it. And so much of the marathon is about conserving energy. I always like to say, how easy can you get to halfway? How much energy can you conserve? Because it is going to hit you like a ton of bricks with 6 miles to go. And I think that Ymir has done a great job of sitting. Win.
There's Galen. All right, perfect. Can you still hear us, Galen?
Yep. Yeah, I can still hear you.
So if you're in this race and you're some of these guys that aren't here, is it because you can't keep up, or have you decided that maybe this isn't the spot to go with them?
I think that given the fast pace early on, some of these guys might have backed off a little bit, and they're trying to measure out, how fast they're going, because there is still quite a ways to go, and a lot can happen. A lot of people always talk about 20 miles being the halfway point in the marathon, but yeah, they're definitely measuring out, and hopefully they're saving some for those last final miles.
Well, I don't know if you got a stopwatch on it, but they went through that very last mile in 4:28. So clearly Yimmer and Tola have decided that they're going to press things and see how it goes from there. Galen Rupp, thanks so much. Juan Luis, if you're in this race, are you with these two guys? What are you thinking? What are you thinking as these guys go off?
Well, if I can go with these guys and that pace, it's a Mexican record, and I make a big party here in New York. They are running for 2 hours, 5 minutes. So it's so fast. It's not only the Africans now can run at that pace.
Well, Tola's been 4th here twice, so he can sniff that podium. He wants that podium. But Yimmer, he might be the most dangerous man in this field. He's so fast. He was 4th at the World Championships just a month ago in Riga, where he ran the half marathon in 59:22. It said he ran so fast that he ran himself into the medical tent.
And he's Olympic medalist in 10,000 meters in Rio. So he knows how is the fast in the body.
Yeah. Tola, who DNF'd in Budapest this year, is the 2022 world champion from Eugene. So not unexpected that he is there. Thought perhaps there might be more that would go with him, but they did not. We're back in a moment, but during the break, continued race coverage for you, brought to you by our partners at TCS.
Imagine you could shave 30 seconds off your time. without lacing up. As innovators solving problems around the world, TCS uses digital twin technology to help you rehearse the future. When you have a heart for innovation and belief runs deep, extraordinary solutions are entirely possible. With that kind of power, imagine the difference it could make in your world.
We come right back after a nice little cameo by Deslett.
Yes, looking good.
In that piece. So there you see the two runners. Albert Career just behind. It looks like Shura Kitata is still out there. They're not so far away, and obviously with that depth of view from that camera, it's hard to tell exactly what that gap is, but Kitata's running style is fairly distinct, so you can kind of see him back there, and along with Zuhair Talbi. Bit surprised. We haven't seen much of Edward Cheserek in this race, and Cam Levins has fallen way off, which I think is a bit surprised. He came in really fit, came off a good marathon in Tokyo, had really pointed to this, skipped the World Championship so he could be here for this race to run these hills, and maybe that's what's taking a toll, and he comes out of here with a great learning experience, but he's a guy that we expect to be there. It's not quite there right now. The top American, Futsum Zena Selassie, the immigrant from Eritrea, ran at NAU 4 times across country, All-American. So that's where he is. But right now it is these two guys, Juan Luis at the top, and everybody else is going to have to make a decision how hard they want to go if they're going to try and track them down.
They are waiting for the perfect moment to make the last move. You know, maybe in the hills, maybe close to the Central Park. I don't know, but they are thinking about who is the stronger guy right now.
But they are putting a little bit of pressure on right now, right? Like they did, they had a group, but now they're trying to break it apart. And Albert Career, I mean, he's in third right there, but he's won this race before. And believe me, both these men up front know that.
Yeah, he's still right there. And if he could just get around that darn motorcycle, he might have a shot and see what happens. Because we like when he wins, because he smiles big, he showboats, he jumps through the tape. So still got a ways to go for the finish. Ben on the right, and a big pack in that women's race. It is so good.
At the marathon, you see Americans Kellen Taylor, Molly Huddle holding steady, about a pack of 10. Defending champion Helen O'Beary in there, just under a 6-minute pace. So nice and comfortable right now. Now, back in June of 2020, Maya Ramirez made history. She became the first COVID patient in the USA to receive a double lung transplant. The first of its kind medical procedure kept her alive, but it was a promise to run again that gave her hope. Jorge Ramos tells this remarkable story. Here's the first look at E60's newest documentary, Myra.
It's been 5 months and 3 days since my lung transplant, and we're gonna try to run for the first time today for 1 minute. I was like so determined, and so I told my boyfriend, here, record this, let's see if I can do this. 3, 2, 1.
I remember she texted me the video of her running. I was sitting at my desk and I'm watching it and I'm screaming in my office. My colleague next door, they're like, are you okay? And I was like, Myra's running. It was just so amazing.
She wasn't even walking maybe a month and a half before that, so she was pretty proud of herself.
I was able to run, well, not run, but jog. Probably not even jog, like walk really, really fast for a minute. It felt like I ran a marathon.
E60 presents Myra, featuring Univision's Jorge Ramos. It premieres next Sunday, November 12th at 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. John?
Thank you, Hannah. And there are 50,000 stories like that. Maybe not all quite that dramatic, but everybody that shows up at that start line, everybody that crosses that finish line has a wonderful story and a why for running here in New York City. Well, when we started this race, Carol, we talked about the Fab Four. We've got a really impressive 11 out there, and we're almost 2 hours into this thing. Yep. And all is proper villains, but all of the contenders are there. Where you see on the men's side, we're down to, Tamara Tola is working with Jamal Yimmer in this.
Well, listen, on the women's side there, you have so many athletes that are coming even from the 1,500-meter background all the way up to the marathon. So this is actually playing into the cards of some of those tracksters, maybe. And we're seeing that now in the marathon. A lot of athletes moving from the track to the roads and really succeeding.
Cross country, indoor track, outdoor track, World Championships, Olympic Games. So it's a really good field.
Tessa Bet-Gidey, who has been involved in all of those things, she's won world championships in across all those disciplines. But was the defending champ Lokedi going to be involved? Yes, she's still there. Bridget Kosgei, the former world record holder, yep, she's still there. Helen Obiri, very much involved in this. Gidey, why not? One marathon of Valencia, fastest debut ever. She's right there. Viola Cheptu, hey, I've been second here before. Why not better? She's there. Marion Gugi Cooper. Do I need to keep going through all of these? I know. Edna Kiplagat, that's right, in 43, have the Masters record, but why not? Kellen Taylor is still there. Is Molly in that thing? Is she dropping? Yeah, Molly's still very in there. It's fantastic to have all of them. And then on the men's side, there you see Tola. He's got a few strides on him, so I don't know if he's pushing or if Yimmer is.
He makes the move. No, he makes the move right now.
This is typical Tola that makes the move here.
And he looks great, faster, stronger than the other one.
He doesn't look stressed right now. Maybe he's got a poker face when he does that, but he doesn't look right now that he is, as Galen talked about, conserving your energy as best you can. He doesn't look right now that like he's way out over his ski tips by any stretch of the imagination.
Well, Tola's run 3 marathons in the last couple years. He's run 2:03:40, 2:04:14, 2:03:39. I mean, he's very consistent, but he did DNF in Budapest. That was the World Championships this August. Is he back? Is he using this? What kind of fitness is he in? I think he looks like he's in pretty sharp fitness.
So, Hannah, as much as I'd like to throw this back to you with some sort of definitive what's happening, It's not. You're going to have to stay for the whole thing.
Stay tuned, as they say in the TV business. I'm here with Abhinav Kumar. He is the Chief Marketing Officer for TCS, which has shown such a great commitment to this marathon. 10 years. He also picked up the London Marathon. So what is it about investing in the marathon in particular that's meaningful?
Hannah, it's just great to be here. I mean, the atmosphere is electric, and I think we are so proud of the fact that we support 15 running properties across the world. Obviously, the TCS New York City Marathon is top of the food chain. It's the best day of the year. It's great to be here. We've been supporting these running properties for many reasons, foremost of which is to bring a culture of wellness and health in the communities which we operate in. But also, we have a lot of our own community members, our clients, our partners, our employees running today, so there's a lot of excitement around that.
And we heard from Sharon Lokedi's mom earlier in the broadcast. She was able to watch her daughter win last year all the way from Kenya with the app that TCS developed. Why is that such an important part of the experience here?
So as one of the leading technology companies in the world, we shared this value with the TCS New York City Marathon of being the most technologically advanced marathon in the world. We've been working, we've been officially providing the mobile app for this marathon for many years, and every year we sit down with New York road runners and look to add new features towards it. As you said, last year was the first year. It is a world first in which the actual race was streaming through the app. It got people all across the world watching it. You spoke about that story. It's been fantastic. I think beyond that, I think one of the features on the app which people use the most is tracking your runner. So if you have a family member or a friend who's running it, you're able to track where they are, and the moment they finish, you can call them, or better still, if you're in New York City, you can land up here and give them a hug.
Very cool, and we want to get back to the race as we see Tola pulling away there. We've got two-time Olympian Des Linden with us, and I know you guys are working very quickly on this digital heart. What is this project about?
Yeah, let me tell you quickly about it. I mean, we're privileged to work with Des, who's a legend in this sport, and what we've done is, there's this concept, you may have heard of it, it's called digital twin. Essentially what you do is you take a physical object, could be a car, could be a building, and create a digital model of it. So we've taken our heart, and we've created a digital model of her heart. Well, what it enables us to do is to check the performance of her heart while she's running. And as this technology evolves, it's going to be able to give her real-time insights on how she can perform better as an athlete. Eventually, this will be available to you and me, and it'll give us insights on how our heart is doing, potentially give us diagnosis on it, and save lives.
Amazing, amazing. Abhinav Kumar, thank you. We appreciate your support. Thank you for making today possible as we go out to the court. And Anthony Johnson.
A pleasure, Hannah.
Hey, Hannah, can you hear me out here? It's pretty loud in the Bronx, of course. This is where they make the noise. I got the Peloton fan zone right in front of me. You can hear them cheering as the runners are making their way through. We're here at the 20-mile marker. This is a big place, really, as far as the race is concerned, for a lot of the runners. When they get to this location, this is called the wall. But for the elite runners, they've been moving through here, and you can watch them as they start to make their way in the Bronx. They only run 1 mile here in the Bronx, and then they start to head into Manhattan for that final 6 miles, 6.2 miles left after they reach this particular location. And we're out here, of course, because the ABC News team will be running through him. The ABC News team will be running through here in a little while. Lindsay Davis, Jonathan Carl, they'll be handing off the baton between them. So we're looking forward to that. We'll be waiting for them to reach this location. Once again, 20-mile marker. Excitement, crowd is building out here. This is a great place to actually watch the race because you have room. You can really watch. You can see the runners at faces. Look at them. Your friends that might be running in the race, you can wave at them. They can see you. Once again, the excitement is building out here. John, back to you. It was good to see you this morning, face to face. You're looking good, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you made it from the finish line all the way out to the 20-mile mark, but good for you. And what great timing that you're there when our man Tamara Tola just burned by as they go over the Willis Avenue Bridge at 19.5, go into, we said, is the Bronx for a while, and then they'll get to Madison Avenue. But off they go, and Tamara Tola has decided to make it his race, and the women thinned out a little bit, but all the players are sort of there. And I don't know, Kellen Taylor, who said, like, she wanted to run Chicago because that's far enough away from the trials, and they didn't want her.
Well, she is coming off of having a baby. Listen to her story. She has 4 children now. She fostered 2 of them and then adopted 2 of them. She has a 10-month-old and she has a 13-year-old. So she's got a lot on her plate. She's still breastfeeding her baby girl right now. She's doing so much. She was 8th here. She was 7th here. She's been 6th. Now she wants to be on the podium and she wants to run fast today. So I am not surprised to see her out front. Yeah, she wasn't invited to run the Chicago Marathon, but she loves coming here to New York, and she runs very well on the streets of New York City, and that is something. I know we say that a lot. It's not just cliche, right? Like, she knows how to run, she knows how to navigate the ups and downs and the turns, and that is something that can be playing right into her favor.
Take a look at the TCS stats brought to you by our partners at Tata Consultancy Services. Through 20 miles that they went over, 158, so they're well off. So the course record that we so thought was going to happen isn't going to happen. But in exchange for that, what we're going to get is this great race of now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people up front. And quietly, who's never been in the front and never sort of been past 7, is Latesna Gide, that's right there. And I'm not so sure she's not the one.
They are waiting for the perfect moment to move.
Yeah, they are. They're starting to move a little bit, though. They went from about 5:58 to 5:46 there. And I kind of like how these women have run today. We haven't seen it now in a few years where they've waited and they've gone through those loud parts of the race and held their composure and not gotten too excited. And it's starting to show.
And on the men's side, Tamara Tola has decided that he is going to break away and make his push at this mark at 20 miles. He goes through at 1:34.38. So he's got 20 miles down. He's got a 10K to go. We're going to take a break. He's not, and you as a viewer is not either. Continued race coverage brought to you by our partners at Abbott.
This is Daniel Romanchuk. And so is this. And this. And this. Daniel is a fierce wheelchair division competitor and New York City Marathon champion 2 years in a row. This November, he's racing for his 3rd title, pushing himself to the limit of what's possible and proving that at our healthiest, there's no telling how far we can go.
Well, there's no telling how far we go. There's exactly telling how far that Tamrat Tola has to go. He's got to make it about another 5 miles as he's going off the last of the bridges. That's the Madison Avenue Bridge, mile 21 as he goes through there. Galen, the only guy that's hanging with him right now is Galen Rupp. Galen, he's put the pedal to the metal and decided that he's going to make his dash to the finish at this point. What's it look like from where you're sitting?
Absolutely. He really started to make that move right after the fluid station at 30K. And you could see there was a small 2 or 3 second gap, and Tola gave a sneaky little look back and saw that he had a little bit of a gap. And, they've been running side by side for so long, and you feel that as a runner. And I think that he really could tell maybe that Ymer is on the brink of falling off and decided to start pushing. And Ymer did a great job battling back right before they hit the Willis Avenue Bridge. But once they hit the boogie down, I think Tola decided it was time to boogie and get going, and he's been keeping the pressure on, and it's really gives you a lot of confidence, especially this late in the race. When you break away from someone, it's invigorating, and it can give you a second surge of energy. So I think he's starting to smell it. He's still got 5 miles to go, but he's looking great. Still looks really comfortable, looking around a lot. Yeah, he's making his move and going for it right now.
Hey, Galen, how much does it drive you to be fourth here twice? Like, you've come up short in different races, and you have to think about it for a year or two. How much does that fuel him right now?
Oh, it's got to fuel him tremendously. It's a marathon. You only get to run 2, maybe 3 a year. And so, it's a very limited opportunity to race. And when you have a race where you come up just short, it definitely eats at you and can serve as a ton of motivation in your training. And, I'm sure that those experiences are sitting with him right now, but he's got to be feeling good with the way this race is going.
So if he comes off the Madison Avenue Bridge, that brings them back into Manhattan. It's the only one of the few times they turn and go south for a little while. He's going to go through Harlem by Marcus Garden Park. And like I said, we have 5 minutes. Galen, if you're there, this is his 3rd marathon he's put on his legs, even though he DNF'd in Budapest. Where are the hiccups? Where's the spot that if this might go sideways, where in these last few miles should we be watching for where that could happen?
I think it's really about now. The closer and closer he gets to the finish line, he's going to start to taste it more and more. And again, that's going to wake him up and continue to drive him to the finish. But I think this is the one dangerous part where he's had a gap. The big move has been made, and he's got to keep his concentration and keep going. You don't want to give Ymer any glimmer of hope that he has a chance to come back. And if I'm Ymer and I start to see Tola coming back to me, that's going to give me a lot of hope and drive me forward. So this is a real critical point in the race, I think, and Tola's got to keep the pedal down for sure.
Galen Rupp out there with the ride-along program. Juan Luis, your thoughts? Where's if there's a trouble spot to be had coming in, where would it be?
Oh yeah, but it's almost the end. It's like an 8K to the finish line. Mm-hmm. He's increased the pace. He's running under 2:05 time. So it's maybe a new course record.
Yep, and the course record by Jeffrey Mutai, which has stood for 12 years, which ties the longest gap they've ever had. If he doesn't get it, he'll be the man that's held it the absolute longest. The women have started to ramp things up. 5:18, their fastest mile at mile 22. So we're coming down to the last 5K for them. Back with more TCS New York City Marathon right after this on ESPN2.
Every November, over 50,000 stories converge at the TCS New York City Marathon. 5 boroughs, over 1 million spectators, and one undeniable truth. It will move you. Every year, it moves the whole world to believe in the unstoppable spirit in all of us.
Beautiful shot of one of the great cities on the planet. Join hosts Rob Simmelker, CEO of New York Roadrunners, and Med Keflezighi, 2009 New York City Marathon champ and Olympic medalist, every Thursday as they converse with inspiring athletes from everyday enthusiasts to elite marathoners, hearing stories of perseverance, drive, and dedication on the NYRR Set the Pace podcast presented by New Balance. As you can see, The sun is out and the temperature has climbed a bit, all the way up to 57 degrees on a picture-perfect Sunday in the fall in New York. Doesn't get much better than this, does it, John?
Especially not if you're not running and you're just sitting watching. It's great. But things have heated up in the women's race, so we go out to Des Linden and Viola Cheptu. I'm not sure that's who we expected would be the person to decide to put the hammer down and make a little break, but that's what we have. What do you see from your chair?
Yeah, I've been watching all morning, and that's exactly who I expected to make the move. On paper, not what we thought, but she's looked antsy all day. She's looked well within herself, comfortable. She wanted this thing to get rolling. At mile 20, the first 20 miles of the race is transportation, and then the race begins. And right on cue, Kellen Taylor went and made the first decent effort of the last several miles. 5:33, went down to 5:18, and they just went through mile 23 in under 5:10 pace. So this is real. Cheptu separated the pretenders from the contenders, and ironically, when Cheptu went to the front to make the move, Obiri looked at Gaudet to see how she would respond before she started closing the gap. Now they kind of seem like they're all working together to close that gap, and then we're going to see what happens here if they can blow things open a little bit more. It's only going to get faster from here in.
I don't know that you can be the world record holder in the half at 62.52 if you're Gaudet and be sneaky, but she's just kind of been sitting there the whole time without really what's the right word? Being involved. What I'm saying, she's just kind of been right there in the shadows.
Yeah, I mean, they're on 2:30 pace early on. This is an afternoon stroll for her. In the middle of that 5:18 mile, there was a bunch of fans with Ethiopian flags. She took the time to wave and smile. She looks like she's out in a jog. I mean, it's going to heat up in the park. They're on a long, grindy climb up this hill. It's getting serious, but she looks really, really relaxed.
How does Katie look right now? I mean, she seems like she's closing that gap back in on the top three, but they also are throwing down 5-0s now for the miles.
I love how she handled that breakaway. I mean, it exploded really quickly, and the natural thing to do is want to respond in the drop of a dime, stay right in contact. She let it sort of roll out in front of her, patiently covered half, and now has worked her way right back into it. So I think that might have been the best way to cover the move, the most efficient way to cover the move, and she's going to have to be incredibly smart and patient in how she runs these last few miles if she wants a repeat of last year.
Sharon Lucchetti has come right back there as well, so it's at least a four-person race, and yeah, it looks like, is that Bridget Koskai's
back in there?
All right, so she's decided too that she wants to engage in this. Des, question for, because at this point, right, it's like, who's a really fast 10K runner, which we know Obiri is, we know Giddy is, but that's just a standing, like, that's just a straight 10K. How about trying to run a 10K after you've run the first 20 miles? Does that favor anybody here that you see?
Yeah, that's, I think, going to tip the hat to experience on tough courses. Obiri's learning curve from New York last year to Boston. She's only done hard courses, so she knows what this is going to feel like. Obviously, Lucchetti has won here before, so and Cheptu's been in the late race, so they're going to be knowing where to push, when to push, how to push, and that's going to go a long way. But I will say this slower early pace is going to change that dynamic a little bit, and I just keep picturing that World Championship race in the 10,000 meters with Gaudet and Obiri going down the stretch. I would love to see a repeat of that, just fireworks that last straightaway in Central Park.
Yeah,
let's see what we get here.
That was from 2022 in Eugene, where they went 1 and 2 in less than a second. And you often wonder, Des, do they go back to that mindset of looking at each other and paying attention to what they're doing, or are they racing all four of these people right now? Are they thinking about all five that are in this pack?
Yeah, I think Obiri has gone to the front to do something significant and create the break from everyone. And I know Gaudet is obviously on her mind, front of mind, but everyone else in the field will factor. She knows Lucchetti won last year. She knows Kosgei is a former world record holder, so she's just trying to break the field. And anyone who...
right, we'll get back in touch with Des as they've made a bit of a turn there and with some reception issues. But through mile 24, it's a group of 5.
And the motivation is the different here. So
motivation.
Yeah, of course. So if you are in the podium position, so of course you are tired, but you push everything right now.
And Carrie, they talk about experience on this course, but the experience of these racers all knowing each other will come into play too, because every one of those gals is familiar with the other one and where they've run and what they can do. And so that plays into it as well.
For sure, and even their country women, right? They're all there. They're compatriots. There's 4 Kenyans and 1 Ethiopian, and they know how to race against each other. They also have been communicating. A lot of the Kenyan athletes have talked about the communication that they have. So this is exciting.
Listen, we've had 24 miles of the good stuff, and now we're getting ready to get to the best stuff. It's the 52nd TCS New York City Marathon. Tamara Tola runs alone for his first title in 5, going for the women's tape. Back here at the TCS New York City Marathon, and we have our TCS stats presented by Tata Consultancy Services as they went through 35 kilometers. 42 is the race, went through in 2:04, about 5:26 a mile, well off the course record pace. But again, usually when you win a major marathon, they ask what place.
Yeah.
And they might ask you what time, and it's great, but and if it's a world record, it's something. But in this case, first is way more important than all the numbers that come with the colons behind them with 225, 226, or whatever. And we have 5 right there, the defending champ. Sharon Lokedi is out there with the Boston champ. Helen Obiri, the former world record holder, is in there. Bridget Kosgei, the Tessica Gide, the world record holder in the half marathon, is in there. And, of course, Bridget Kosgei. Did I leave anybody out? Oh, Viola Cheptu. Excuse me, the woman who made the race. She's the one that decided that she was going to go ahead and make the race. And Kosgei there in kind of the mango top is trying to hold on. And on the right, listen, it's kind of... Tamara Tola on the right there is kind of like that line in Secretariat when he told Ron Turcotte, don't fall off the horse, which at this point, that's what it looks like. Yeah, just don't fall off. And it looks like he's going to find his way to his first world marathon major. He's won the world championships, but he has yet to win a world marathon major. So that would be quite an accomplishment for a man that's run in London and Tokyo and New York and Boston, but has yet to be the top step of the podium.
And early this year, his wife and his young brother won the Dubai Marathon.
Yeah, his younger brother, Abdisa Tola, won the men's side of the 23 Dubai Marathon, and Dira Dita, his wife, won. So maybe he's just trying to have something at Thanksgiving that he can talk about and not be ashamed.
Surrounds himself with winners. But here we can see on the women's side, a couple of our athletes are starting to fall off. Viola Cheptu and Bridget Kosgei now moving back into 4th and 5th. This is probably the top 3 that we were talking about besides Paris Jepchirchir before she dropped out. These 3, the returning champion, the Boston Marathon champion, and the fastest debut marathoner of all time, Gide Letsenbet. She's right there in 3rd in the orange shorts. I have my eyes on Gide. She's been looking at her watch. She's been holding her water bottle the longest. She has basically looked like she's jogging. She's got a beautiful stride. She's coming from the track, from the cross-country courses. She's so versatile. But guess who's coming back? Just as I said, Bridget Kosgei is making her way back.
He's waiting for the perfect moment, and maybe it's in the last 300 or 400 meters to go.
Yeah. You know, and these athletes, like I said, we've talked, all of these athletes have been on the track at one time. Bridget Kosgei, more of a road racer, but Viola Cheptu, also Sharon Lokedi, the NCAA champion. You know, these athletes know how to sit and kick. That's the mentality that you use on the track. And now, as a road racer, as a marathoner, they get to use all of their tools in their tool belt.
Look to the face. He's so concentrated.
Yes.
Move.
So much. They just passed mile 25. They're going to go out of the park, come back into the park, and you know that that is when moves happen. Right when they get to Columbus Circle, when everyone gets to that big statue, there's 600 meters to go.
So we've had some surges, we've had some moves, and what's remarkable that if you're Lokedi, who is the defending champ, but is probably the least accomplished of those runners in that first pack.
Yeah, but her mom is here in America for the first time, and you know she wants to run well for her mom. We all want to run well for our mom and dad.
And she also would like to go ahead. Listen, it's an elite company if you can be a back-to-back champion here. The last person to do it was Mary Catani, who actually won 3 in a row in 2014, 15, and 16.
So last year, the women finished in 7 seconds within each other. The closest in history, 3 seconds.
Which was Paula Radcliffe.
Paula Radcliffe and Susan Chepkemai in 2004.
And there you see Tola. He's looking at his watch. He can look over his shoulder if he wants. He's not going to see anybody. Like, that's happiness right there.
It's close to the new PB because he's running under 2 hours, 4-minute pace right now. Woo.
That would be really, in this course, it's amazing. He ran 2:03.39 in Amsterdam in 2021. So he's certainly, he's got that kind of ability. We said he was a 2:03 guy. And listen, if I'm running a major marathon, I'm thinking maybe I just need to find somebody to add late. Look at Boston when they put in Helen O'Beary late and she won, and Tamara Tola, who came through and is leading this race comfortably, and he was an ad about 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, he is very close to the course record, but here we are seeing the women. You know, everyone talks about O'Beary going to her arms and getting into that track form, that sprint form. She's really working right now, but Sharon Lokedi looks smooth. This is where we saw her last year when she was sort of a surprise, but she looks great.
So there's going to be your 3 for the win in the last mile. It's the Volvo last mile that we're bringing you here at the TCS New York City Marathon. Lokedi, O'Beary, or Tessenget-Gide.
Gide, to me, looks like she's just waiting. You know, we've seen her on the track. She was second at the World Championships this year, this last August. And she came off of that World Cross Country Championships where she actually was disqualified because she had some medical stuff in the last 200 meters. But she's timing this out. Now it's to see if she can get around these top 2, because listen, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone out there, it is a sprint to the finish, and it's not an easy one. It is uphill.
Well, when she went to Valencia, and she said, last year I was preparing for a record when she went for the half, and then Valencia, and now she says, I'm just preparing for the win.
Yeah.
Never come from New York, but she said she's got confidence because she's running those cross-country races.
Look at that.
She can take the hard
Smiling.
She's smiling, giving thumbs up to the crowd. Look at her right now, moving in, kind of navigating through the group here like she does on the track, and that's exactly what you want to do.
And it's funny, you don't think of the marathon as a sit and kick race, but she's kind of been in that position. And Helen O'Beary, who last year, of the 2 people who were making their debut, she and Sharon Lokedi, everybody was like, well, O'Beary's obviously going to be the one that probably would take care of that. And she eventually faded to 6th, and that's been a bit of a motivation for her, even after winning in Boston. And of course, the other motivation we talk about is her daughter, who, when she doesn't win, always says, Mommy, why'd you let that other lady beat you?
Yeah, Tanya is on her case, that's for sure. Ritzenheim is her coach, but he has an assistant there with Tanya. But this is what we see with O'Beary. She starts to move. This is what we saw last year. She made her move at Boston, and it was decisive, but she waited until that final moment.
She's now.
Less than 600 meters to go.
And as they go about 400 meters is when they go by the Kenyan flag. That's right about the quarter-mile mark. But now Sharon Lokedi appears that maybe she's not going to be able to quite keep up the pace. And it's a track race right now, is it between O'Beary and Gide?
Gide has had her eyes down. You know, a lot of times you have your eyes sort of on the crest, but here they go. They have both won world titles on the track. They've both been in cross-country. They've both been on the roads. Look at this right now, John.
And Helen O'Beary, who is the gold medalist in the World Championships in 5,000 in 2017 and 2019. Gide, who won in 2022, won the 10K, and O'Beary is here. The turnover is better there, but I don't know that she's lost Gide for sure.
She's got to keep it going. She's got to keep the pressure on. They've been working harder than ever. Dathan Ritzenheim, her coach, has said she's had the best build-up yet, and she's only been a marathoner for a year, but she's keeping that pressure on.
So the lead motos have pulled off, and now it is just these two ladies, and it is Helen O'Beary digging in up that last hill, and then it's a slight downhill as they pass 2:27 on the clock for the women's race, and it looks like she has managed to put the day behind her. It was second in her debut marathon when she went to Valencia, and here it is. From the bridge, through the boroughs, to the breaking of the tape, Helen O'Beary is the champ here at the TCS New York City Marathon in 2023. The testing that the day is just behind, and the defending champ, Sharon O'Kelly, with the third finish.
I cry every time. I can't help it. I mean, these ladies just work so hard. Look how excited they all are. Months and months of training, devotion, dedication, all of that goes into 26.2 miles. And today, it was all about being patient. And that's the big thing that Dathan Ritzenwein is trying to teach O'Beary. She is a track star. You have to be patient, and she is giving us a lesson in that.
So, and as they celebrate, just behind is Tamrit Tola, who is going to come through and win his first Abbott World Marathon Major. It'll pair nicely with his 2022 World Championship that he had in Eugene. He's in the Volvo final mile, and, well, unlike in the women's race, the man has no company in this case. He is just going to be able to enjoy this last mile by himself, if in fact you can enjoy something at this point with this kind of pain that you go through to get to this spot.
Oh, believe me, he is enjoying it when he doesn't see three people in front of him like he is the last two times he's raced here. He is pumped. He is excited that they're all chasing him today.
Yeah, fourth in 2018, fourth in 2019, and in his third New York City run, it will be the charm for him.
It's really close to the world record, so
keeping an eye on the course record for the men. It's 2:05:06. And
from 2011.
He went through in 62:45. Yep, Jeffrey Mutai ran that in 2011. He was actually a back-to-back champ. The race was canceled in 2022 because of Hurricane Sandy, but he was there in 21 and 23. And Tamrit Tola, who on First Avenue, when they went down Thunder Alley, made it a two-man race with Jamal Yimmer, and then at 2021 over the bridge, he's coming through. I want to point out that Edna Kiplagat has just crossed the line once again. What a marvel she is at age 43. But here comes Tamrit Tola, and all that exhaustion will give way to elation as he wins the 52nd running of the TCS New York City Marathon. Tamrit Tola. We said he was a late ad, and he is the best kind of ad because they added the champion 3 weeks ago. And with it, a finishing time that breaks the 12-year-old course record of Jeffrey Mutai. It had been tied for the longest, and now it goes over. So in addition to the check and the Tiffany's Trophy, the course record belongs to Tamrit Tola. What an exquisite run for him. Talked about conserving energy. He certainly knew what he needed to do, knew what his body could give him the entire way. Over 26.2 miles.
Now, you know, we've seen many times you go through Thunder Alley and things happen, but he went for it. And here comes Albert Career. What a great day for him, too.
2:04:58 is the final time for the course record, 2:04:58. So that's 8 seconds faster than the previous mark. Sub 2:05 on this course is significant in terms
and Korea is coming with a new PB also.
His body could get him the entire way and didn't make a misstep over 26.2 miles.
He did a perfect time in a hilly road. Maybe in the flat course is 1 hour, 2 hours, 1 minute.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, might as well put it out there. But you know what I loved about his day was that he found himself in the lead and he did something with it. And he kept pushing. Now, you know, we've seen many
You see the countrymen from Ethiopia, Tamrit Tola, the champ, the runner-up in the women's, Tessenbet Gide. Gide, who was the 8th fastest marathon debut, and she ran 12:16:49 in Valencia, comes through in her second with another impressive performance, but in this case, Helen O'Berry just better.
Well, Helen O'Beary is now a 3-time marathoner. Gide is a 2-time marathoner, so she does have a little leg up there.
Well, now that they have crossed the tape, soon come the accolades when we come back. Championship presentations, interviews with And when we say welcome to New York, we mean Staten Island, then Brooklyn, then Queens, and the Bronx and Manhattan, all 5 boroughs. And there's the man that negotiated that 26.2-mile route better than anybody, Tamrit Tola, for his first win in New York City. He was followed across the line by Albert Carrera, past champ, and then Shura Kitata, who's run here before, and he keeps making the podium. He's just not quite on top. And there you see Abde Nagai came through in 4th, so another good performance by him. And then from Belgium, who was just kind of, that's a really smart race there by Koen Nert, and he comes home in 2:10:25. But look at that number, 2:04:58, the course record for Tamrit Tola. On the women's side, O'Beary, Gide, Petty, the former world record holder, and Bridget Kosgei, and then Mary Ngugi Cooper came through as well as a top American that comes through. Futsum Zina Selassie with a very nice run for the Hoka Northern Elite program up there in Flagstaff, where he went to college as well. So he's the top American to come through here in New York in 2023. Juan Luis, what'd you like? What you saw here in your first marathon in the booth?
Well, you know what? You're right. Maybe I need to come back to the trainer. But no, I passed a really good time with you. Thank you, John.
How about the race? I want to know, listen, Carrie and I, we're always delightful. We want to know what you thought of the guys and how it played over the course of those 26 miles.
Well, it's an amazing race with a new course record for the men and a strategic race for the ladies. So it's a good surprises this morning, but a wonderful year for the athletics.
And you talk about the strategy of this thing. We came out thinking, probably a chance to see a course record. Never on anywhere close to that was it ever in play. The men, a really good second half by Tola, and then the men's record goes down. Yep. And if you're Helen O'Beary, last year she ran 2:25:49 here in that heat and was 6th. Today she runs 2:27:23. You're a minute and a half slower, and you won.
Yes. And it's perfect today. But, I think you said it. Strategy and racing is so important. Getting here to the finish line first is the main objective.
It is a reminder of always and every time. It is a race and it is a competition. And today, Helen O'Beary had the better of all the competition on the women's side. Back with interviews with the winners and Lewis Johnson right after this here at the TCS New York City Marathon on ESPN2 and ABC7.
The TCS New York City Marathon is brought to you by Tata Consultancy Services, one of the world's top technology and consulting firms, and by Peloton. Yes, you can.
How versatile, by the way, is Rob Simulcare, the CEO of New York Runners. He's running the whole joint. He's doing voiceover work as well for the broadcast. Love to see that. So podium is generally a noun, right? It's a person, place, it's a thing. Here's the podium. Only in running is podium a verb. You got to, look, she podiumed, he podiumed, and there's a look at the podium for the men's race here in the 52nd TCS New York City Marathon. An outstanding course record run by Tamrit Tola, who was added to the field 3 weeks ago. The world champ from 2022. Albert Carrera is there, and then Shura Kitata. But only one guy gets the laurel and the silver plate and the interview with Lewis Johnson, and that trifecta belongs to Tamrit Tola. Lewis?
All right, John, thanks very much. Well, this young man is tired after an incredible race, a course record for you today. Just describe what it felt like to cross this finish line behind us to win the New York City Marathon in such a fast time.
Yeah, I'm very happy today. Thank you for organizer inviting TCS New York Marathon, and thank you all people to support me when I ran. It's amazing people to support the marathon to finish. And today I'm happy. I am coming to New York for third time, 2 times number 4. Now I am win. This is first time major winning for me. It is very, very, very important for me. I am very happy, and also this course record. So I'm happy after I lose world champion on Budapest because of my stomach. Now I recover from that after 1 week something. I'm happy.
Yes, and we can see that. Tamara, you took the lead about 20 miles or so. Can you just describe the confidence you had to take the lead and just hold it and really dominate the last part of this race? How did you do that?
Yeah, it is after 12 kilometers. Some Kenyan guys go in front. Then me can I lead with him. Then I continue to not back. If I back, it is up, down. Maybe the pace is not okay for me. Then can I go on one pace? Then it is important for me. I am happy. I'm confident for myself, for my training.
Well, a valiant run. Congratulations on winning the course record and your first championship here in New York. Congratulations once again.
Thank you.
All right, John.
Thank you very much, Lewis. Wonderful job, as always, as we look at the men's top 10. And there, some of the guys that we hadn't seen, Jamel Yemmer, who gave such a good accounting of himself there till Tola really put the hurt on him, and he falls all the way back to 9th. King Ches in his first marathon, the 17-time NCAA champ, runs 2:11:07. Really respectable by him. Ferry is there in 6th as well. Take a look at the American chart here, Kerry. There's Futsumzina Selassie, as we said, the former Northern Arizona runner. Cross-country All-American. Elkanah Kibet comes in 2nd by 14 seconds behind them. And it's not Sid McLaughlin, but good to see Sid Gidboudet is there at 2:14:34 as well. So the top 3 Americans, and that pays $25,000 to be the top American here. So good job by them. And then top 3 women, here's the podium, and what's happened there is Helen O'Berry, who just is, well, listen, too good, right? Helen O'Berry was there. Tessa McGeady, who gave a great accounting of herself again, and still kind of learning that distance. Not that Helen O'Berry knows a bunch, but she's been around this course once before that, had to help. And then Sharon Lochetti follows up her win here with a fine 3rd-place finish. But it's Helen O'Berry's day, and she is with Lewis Johnson.
All right, and what a race it was. And Helen, we were just enjoying watching this race develop at the end. Can you just describe being in that pack of ladies who were just battling over the last several miles? Let's start right there.
Okay, first of all, the race was so good. I enjoyed the course. The crowd was so amazing. They were so supportive, cheering up. I was hearing the shouting, "Oh, Billy, go, go." So it was a lovely, sometimes when you come in this city, you do enjoy the crowd, amazing. And I can say the ladies were so strong because I was like, I'm so worried. Can I go? I said, no. In a marathon, it's about patience. So I say, let me be patient up to Central Bank so I can see what will happen at the end.
And what happened was an incredible sprint. Can you just take us to the moment where you decided this was the moment? You looked like you were back on the track as you finished this race.
No, I said, no, can I try? I said, like, Kide is there, Sharon is there, I know them, like Kide, she's very strong lady from track, from 10,000, from 5,000. So I said, let me try to go at 400 meters. If not so, I'll do at 200 meters because I know sometimes when you're a track person, you have those sprints in your legs. So I said, let me try to go. So finally, I did.
You did, and you won the TCS New York City Marathon. Helen, congratulations on an incredible race.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, John, what a champion.
Thank you, Lewis. As we look at the women's top 10, how that shakes out, Obiri, Gide, Luchetti, Koskai's right there, Viola Cheptu, who really kind of made the race late. She comes in at 6. Edna Kiplagat at 43 is amazing. And then the two Americans, Kellen Taylor and Molly Huddle, great runs by them. Molly wanted to run 2:29. Kellen, who was out there for the first 20 miles and really did a lot of the work on behalf of that field in those first 20 miles.
Yeah, got to give it up to Kellen and Molly. And Sydney DeVore, she ran well too. You know, it was a slow pace up front. It always makes for a hard, fast time, but these ladies better be excited exactly how they want to be. I mean, this is really what it's all about, racing and getting more experience.
Helen Obiri, this was her 9th race in 2023, and the only one she lost, as we bring in Hannah Storm, was the mini 10K here in New York. She finished second.
Yay!
But if you're going to, Mini's the one to lose, win the major one.
Wow. She's incredible, right? She's just the 5th woman ever to win Boston and New York together. It hasn't happened since 1989. Remember what I told you guys about 1989? December 13th, 1989. She's born in Kenya. Taylor Swift is born on the exact same day.
Yeah.
We have been hearing her sing Welcome to New York this entire broadcast. So let's change the lyrics. Welcome to New York. The finish line is waiting for you. I love Helen Obiri and everything about this win, guys.
I'm trying to think if Ingrid Christensen has anything at all to do with Taylor Swift, since she was the woman that was the last to win Boston, New York in the same year, 33 years ago, as you said, back in 1989. And Juan Luis, listen, I don't want to downplay you and I here, but the women's race was the better race of the two, because the other one turned out to be a solo act. But Tamarit Tola, what impressed you most about him?
Well, he's really good right now before the Olympics, so he has that time to prepare the Olympic Games. So it's maybe Ethiopia is going to be one of the better teams in the Olympic Games.
All right, very good. And Carrie, just give me a quick word on Obiri.
I'm celebrating Taylor Swift and Obiri.
There you go.
Love it. It's been a good year.
Let's go.
That's what we have, Hannah Storm. It's all up to you. We're done here.
Y'all are so fantastic. There's still miles to go for most of the 50,000 people running. You can get continuing coverage of today's race on the ESPN app. There's Taylor. For those of you watching locally, keep it here on ABC 7 for all of my colleagues in today's broadcast. I am Hannah Storm. Thank you so much for joining us today in New York. Yeah, the greatest city in the world.
What does it take?
That marries sport with spectacle. More than 120,000 runners from all over the globe applied for a coveted spot in the world's biggest marathon. For the lucky ones who got in, today represents the culmination of months of training as they take on the grueling 26.2-mile trek from Staten Island through Brooklyn, Manhattan, the Bronx, and to Gotham's promised land, the finish line in Central Park. It's a day of competition and celebration with more than